result tonight in MLS After Dark play taking on the Timbers. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we will hear from striker Logan Ferington. Our commentary team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down tonight's opening contest. And speaking of Steve Davis, hopefully he's well caffeinated as we get ready for tonight's MLS After Dark matchup. Steve, how are we?
Doing good, Sam.
Well, FC Dallas certainly doing good, as we mentioned, 6 straight without a loss. The last time they lost was still in the month of July, and we're almost in October. And we've talked on the last couple of broadcasts about FC Dallas setting a new standard for themselves after kind of wandering in the woods for, let's call it 2/3 of the season. So for those who maybe are thinking, hearing that and going, what the heck are they talking about? What do we mean when we say they've set a new standard, and what does that imply maybe going forward the rest of this year?
Well, let's call it playoff standard. How about that?
Let's do it.
Because, 6 weeks ago, Sam, this team was in 13th place. That's a playoff afterthought. Tonight, after the last few weeks, now they've gone 4-1-4 over the last 2+ months. Tonight they walk on the field for the first time since May 10th, actually in a playoff position. And it's because of the standard, this new standard that you talk about. And I think what's happening is that there's two things sort of playing off of each other. As this thing has arrived at a more stable place, Eric Quill and the staff have been able to start dialing in the details, right? Well, once you start dialing in the details, what happens? You increase the stability even more. So those two things start playing off of each other, and right now they're just a better team. You talk about that standard, better attacking patterns, better decisions in the final third, better defensive rotations, better. There's still some breakdowns here. There's still some gaps, but those are now anomalies. They just don't happen as much. So that's the standard. You see connections that look more familiar. There's more confidence. There's less indecision, and all of it works again. 4-1-4 over the last 2.5 months, 2+ months. The data isn't lying to you.
And something Eric Quill mentioned yesterday, we'll talk about in segment 3 about dialing in those details, because he had a very interesting quote to us when we talked to him on Thursday. Well, let's get you tonight's FC Dallas lineup before we get too far down the road here. It's going to sound very familiar. Jake Jackson in net, Shaq Moore, Osazi Urigede, Sebastian Biaga on the back line, Brendan Kamungo, Christian Capes, Kaike, and Ramiro Benetti in the midfield, Patrickson, Logan Ferington, and Petter Musa up top. If that does sound very familiar, it's exactly what Dallas rolled out last week. As Ryan said in his lineup video, 3rd straight week with the same lineup, first time since 2019. And that's significant in and of itself, because for the first time in what feels like all season, Dallas has finally found I think we can safely call their best starting 11.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sort of a big, if you draw back the lens a little bit, a bigger story here is that it's important for lesser experienced managers to learn lessons. And I think that maybe Eric Quill maybe tinkered a little too much earlier. I think it was necessary because he was trying to figure out how to fit Lucho Acosta into the whole thing. But either way, I think he, is throwing things against the wall at times, just trying to find something that would work. And, maybe the lesson here is once he found something that's worked, he ain't tinkering anymore. He's running it back every week, and why not? It's the safe thing to do, but in my opinion, right now it's also the smart thing to do.
Well, he told us on Thursday, hey, these guys are earning their way in. He goes, there's a good competition, but nobody's playing their way out of the lineup, including, as we'll talk about the goalkeepers in Lowell. That's probably the biggest competition on the field right now. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the guys that are not on the field right this minute. We'll start with the good news. On last week's post-game show, I issued a Paxton Pomacall and a Martin Poss watch. Hey, we're in the area. Well, both Paxton and Martin Poss are on the trip today. I think I'm upgrading that to a warning after last week, especially after Quill said they're in good places. Both of them were in training this week. It feels like, we don't know what their roles are going to be down the stretch, but we're real close to seeing the 2 Ps back on the pitch.
Yeah, and it's great, too. I think that we've seen other coaches do this. As players get healthy, get back, I think coaches have some motivation to sort of get them back into the rhythm of the game and get them back sort of re-engaged and reincorporated with the team. And, yeah, it's one thing to do it on the training field, but I think bringing them on road trips I mean, they're chartering planes. What's it, an extra hotel room? I think it's a great thing to do, even if you don't plan to play them, and neither one of them are, available for selection or have been selected in the 20 tonight. But I think it's fine. I think it's great. Get Paxton back with the team. Get Martin back with the team, especially because he's about to leave anyway for international duty. But I really think that we might see Paxton with some minutes next week, which would be awesome. And then, as you said, the goalkeeping thing, that's a whole other issue because, man, Eric Quill's got some tough choices coming up. By the way, the other injury we should probably talk about a little bit here is Sebastian Lletget.
We were just about to get there.
Yeah. Sorry if I stole your thunder there, Sam. But, he came up with a little training ground injury the other day, and you hate to see that. Not sure what the injury is, but the other thing is Lletget, he's only played 46 minutes in the last 4 matches. He's only started 1 in the last 2 months. So he's become a little bit of a sub here as, again, that lineup stability is just keeping him off the field.
And there's a consequence of that, a knock-on effect, as we like to say here, that we'll talk about in the third segment, because that suddenly shrinks your midfield possibilities, especially in late game. But we'll get to that in segment 3. And I'm also going to steal Ryan Figert's thunder just a little bit. The last time Dallas started 3 straight was in 2019, the same lineup. And that run not only ended in Portland, but the only player that was on that squad that's on this one is Paxton Pomykal. So a lot of turnover in the last 6 years. Well, speaking of Dallas in Portland, that's probably the biggest concern for any longtime Dallas fan. If you're new here, Dallas's history of what used to be Geldwin and now is Providence Park is not real great. 2 wins, 9 losses, 5 draws all time up in Portland. And I'm curious because obviously we know MLS home field advantage is a very real thing. But what specifically about Portland makes it difficult, if anything?
You're playing on artificial turf. The fans up there are rabid. There's usually a pretty good team up there, and that's always, I think, the most critical factor when we talk about, what place is tough to play. I remember for all those years, I may have referenced this before, but people would try to tell me that Toronto, it's because they were one of the first real supporters culture teams, and it's one of the toughest places in Major League Soccer to play. And I'm like, statistically, that's just not true. You're just making that up. You're just making assumptions here. So what makes a place hard to play is usually that the team is a good team, and for a long time, Portland had a good run. They've mostly had good teams up there. They were champs in 15. They were runner-up in 21. They made the playoffs. Most of those years, I think there was only 1 year in between that they did not make the playoffs. So that's the hardest thing. By the way, it's not just Portland. It's the whole Pacific Northwest for this team, Vancouver's not a place where they've had a lot of success. Seattle is a nightmare for them. And Portland, they haven't had a lot of success. This team just isn't good in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, if MLS is taking suggestions and they wanted to reorient to a central division, I'd be very okay with that just in general for both our sleep schedules and just the overall records. But speaking of those Timbers, we'll talk at more length about them in segment 3, but they're coming into this one not the best of form. They've only won 1 game in their last 7, 2 in their last 11, and they had to play midweek as well. They went up to Vancouver and led for a decent amount, but Brian White gave Dallas a big assist with an 88th-minute goal that made it 1-1. It feels like even though there's been a rough stretch of games for Dallas in Portland, tonight is a night where you're in better form than they are overall. You kind of need this win a little bit more. This could be the moment that breaks a little bit of a streak for Dallas.
Dallas in better form than most teams in Major League Soccer right now. I tell you what, man, Phil Neville, he's had a hard assignment between some injuries to some designated players, key players, between summer departures, some that they forced the club's hand, replacement arrivals. They are right now where Dallas was for most of the spring and summer, trying to figure it out, what is the best 11, what's the best formation, because they've used a bunch of different formations lately. In Major League Soccer, it's okay to be there in the spring. You don't really want to be there with October, coming up on us
about 4 games left
next week. Yeah, right, exactly. They don't even have that many left after this one. So, I tell you what though, they do have some good players up there. They're just trying to figure out the mix and the match, but they played a great first half the other day against Vancouver. They just took it to Vancouver. Had Takaoka, the goalkeeper for the Whitecaps, very busy early. They have had trouble closing out games, as we saw in that one. Vancouver really kind of hammering them at the end, but 1-1 draw up there is not bad. Portland did win its most recent home game. That was against the Red Bulls. So, there's Portland through the years, Sam, has been this streaky team. They go through streaks of really good and then really bad in the same season. And what you don't want to be is on the front end of one of those, good streaks. You don't want to be the get right team.
No, you most certainly do not. But that is Steve Davis, who never has to get right because he stays right. You'll hear him on the call tonight, and you'll hear him along with Ryan in our third segment. Steve, we will talk to you in just a little while.
Yes, sir.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we will hear from the big dog, Logan Ferington. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Logan Ferington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you go attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. And a special hello to everyone watching on the Burncast on YouTube. We're looking at Ryan and Steve and hearing my disembodied voice. You see Matt Hedges, our special guest over there, hanging out as well. Yep, Steve's pointing to him right now. Appreciate everybody. And remember, get your comments in on the game. During the game, we'll read them at halftime and post-game. So if you've got something to say, hop in the comments and go ahead and let us know. And if you say something fun, we'll put it on the broadcast, maybe. No guarantees. That is not legally binding. On our next segment, Ryan and Steve will join me. We'll break down the lineups for tonight, the tactics, everything you need to know about tonight's six-pointer in the Western Conference here between Dallas and Portland. And while I have a moment, let me tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, which is available everywhere you get quality free podcasts. Of course, as I just mentioned, we have the post-game show. That's where we get highlights, stats, analysis, everything about the game that was in around 30 minutes. And, of course, it goes live after we finish the game. The final whistle podcast goes up usually by the next morning. So if you're commuting to church, commuting to work, whatever you need, it'll be there for you. It's the best recap of any game you'll get in 30 minutes or less for FC Dallas. And, of course, this year, the FC Dallas agenda is charging right on. We've passed the 30-episode mark, and we've had just about everyone that's anyone. Of course, Eric Quill's been on there a couple times now. We've had Andre Zanata. We've had Peter Musa. And this week, we had the big dog himself, Logan Ferington, the assist merchant, one half of what Ryan calls Moosington, the perfect Parrington. There's like 9 different nicknames for him right now. We'll settle on one eventually. But all you got to do, if you want to hear this great interview and, of course, great insight by Ryan, Steve, and the FC Dallas Insider Garrett Meltzer, go to your podcast app, type in FC Dallas Radio Network, and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great content. And speaking of the agenda, let's go ahead and hear a clip from this week's interview. It's with Dallas striker Logan Ferington.
But I want to talk about training for you, because every time we're out there, we need to talk to you after training. We're going to have to wait 10, 15 extra minutes because you're always one of the last guys out there taking those reps, getting shots on target, working with Michelle. Why is that so important to you in developing your game at this point in your career?
I think it's always been important in developing myself. I grew up watching some of the best players in the Premier League, and you'd hear their interviews and say they were first into training and last to leave the pitch. And that was kind of instilled in me by my dad. And that's something that I don't ever want to lose, because I love playing the game, and I think there's always room for improvement. So being able to stay after and put in a little bit of work extra. If you just get a little bit better every day, I think that's positive. But, I have some fights with Artie sometimes about staying out there.
For sure. Working with Eric, working with his staff, how has that relationship developed over the course of the year? Obviously, a couple different head coaches for you in your rookie season, and now you've had Eric for a year or two.
Yeah, I think a new staff is always difficult just to transition to. I was grateful that we had a full preseason, and I thought that really helped with getting to know the new guys coming in and definitely how Eric wants to run his team. And we had a couple different changes throughout the year, I think, with tactical shifts and kind of finding our identity, which every new staff has to go through and new players have to go through. But I think it's been good. I think the relationship is good. I think he's a very passionate guy, very disciplined, and for me, that's the kind of coach I like, someone that's a little bit more vocal and maybe going to yell at you a little bit more than someone who'd rather be like your friend or something like that.
Obviously, maybe some of those conversations you get into with him, starting versus coming off the bench, you started basically exactly half of your appearances this season. I'm curious for you, whether you're starting or coming off the bench, how does your preparation or your mentality look different in those situations?
Honestly, I don't think it looks too different, because for me, anytime I step on the pitch, I need to be ready to do my job. It doesn't matter if there's only 5 minutes left or if I'm starting the game. I know my role going into the game, and I have to be mentally prepared and physically prepared, whether I'm called to start or called to come off the bench.
And, talking about, again, conversations with the head coach, Eric has told us in the media about the game at San Jose, conversations in the locker room that day, and how he felt like the team has come together since that moment. And he said he really challenged you guys ahead of that game and felt like there was a big, shift in that moment. So take us into the locker room that day, almost 2 months ago now, and tell me how, in your opinion, things have changed since then.
Yeah, I think there definitely has been a shift. When teams are struggling, you often see the locker room mentality kind of be a little bit negative. Guys are getting after each other a little bit more for things that maybe they shouldn't. And I think that's normal for a team that's struggling, like we were at that time. But at that moment, I think we were called to helping us be more consistent and get those results that I was saying about earlier.
If you want to hear the full interview with Logan Ferington, you can check out the FC Dallas agenda from this past week, of course, on the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed. When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me. We'll break down tonight's lineup and tactics. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar. The wow at the world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Leggett, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network and the Burncast on YouTube. We've got just about 20 minutes from kickoff from Providence Park tonight. Let's go ahead and get you the starting lineups, which this evening, late evening I should say, are brought to you by Advocare. We'll start first with the home side Portland Timbers and second-year head coach Phil Neville. It's James Panamis in goal for tonight for the Timbers. Kamal Miller, Dario Zuparic, and Finn Sermon on the back line. Anthony and Juan Mosquera join David DaCosta and David Ayala in the midfield, we think. Christopher Velda, Felipe Mora, and Matias Rojas across the front line for Phil Neville's squad. Now let's hear the starting lineup for FC Dallas and first-year head coach Eric Quill.
Jacob Jackson, goalkeeper, San Diego, California.
Sebastian Ibiaga, center back,
Duke University.
Osaze Origide, center back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Christian Capes, midfielder, Houston, Texas.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Bernard Camungo, I'm a winger, and I'm from Abilene, Texas.
Patrickson, mediocampista, Ecuador.
Logan Ferington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
Subs tonight for Dallas: Lazo Abubakar, Deedson, Alvaro, Anderson, Julio, Padrinho, Josh Torquato, Michael Colodi, Diego Garcia, and Enes Sali. And now we bring in the commentary team for tonight's contest. It's Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, in our first segment, we talked a lot about, Dallas's new standard. They're in their way to the playoffs, and how Portland is struggling just a little bit. These are two teams going in opposite directions. And I ended that first segment with a question I'll pose to you. This feels like the opportune time that if Dallas is going to snag a very rare win in Portland, the forms and the teams the way they are, this feels like it could be the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about a playoff feel over recent weeks. This one certainly has it. I mean, this is a matchup of two teams that could see each other as soon as the first round of the playoffs, that wild card game, the 8-9. It's not a likely matchup, but there's a high likelihood that these teams could match up in the postseason. And so I think even Eric Quill and the team are approaching it as that. This is a sort of a dress rehearsal and an opportunity to put 2 feet into the playoffs, not fully clinched, but to put yourself in a really strong position with 3 games to go. And to be able to look back and put distance between yourself and the playoff line, something that was unfathomable, 6 weeks ago. So not only are they looking up, reaching towards Portland, who are in the 7th position right now, but they can, with a win tonight, they can put distance between themselves and Salt Lake, Houston, Colorado, those chasing pack.
And I know, Steve, we've talked a lot about Petar Musa and his goal chase and the team's offensive uptick recently. But this has been FC defense in this 6-game stretch. They've only conceded 4 goals in their last 6 matchups, and 5 of those 6 games they've conceded under 1 XG. And by the way, that run started here at Toyota Stadium against Portland on the 9th of August when they had a clean sheet. Obviously, Eric Quill is thought of as an offensive coach, that he wants to get forward and he has a very clear identity. But this team's success has largely been built the last about month and a half on defense.
So when they went to 5 in the back, you could put 5 people in the back, and it still doesn't guarantee success.
Well, we saw that earlier in the season, didn't we?
We most certainly did, and under some previous coaches as well. So, but it's just that individually they've all adapted to these roles. Osaze Urguide, he's playing as well as any center back in the league. Again, this is what we saw earlier this year before he got hurt. We talked about Ramiro and Bernie Camungo, how they've adapted to their wingback roles. The guys in front of them, Kappas and Kaique, Kaique covers ground is what he does. Kappas plays smart. It's a great combination. It's a little bit like 2 center backs. I always talk about center backs as combos. They're just they can be more than the sum of their parts so easily when they complement each other. And I think Kappas and Kaique really complement each other in front of them. So that back 7 and of course behind them, really solid goalkeeping. It's working. And as you said, they haven't given up more than 1 goal in almost 2 months now. You're gonna be in games that way. You're gonna get yourself into games, and you're gonna win a lot of them too.
Especially for a Portland team that is not scoring much. I believe that they're on 39 goals coming into tonight's contest. And Ryan, we've talked a lot about the structure, and we've talked a lot about how Dallas has found success in that 5-2-3 look. But it feels like, and I think Steve has made this point, maybe inadvertently, it's a lot more about the Jimmies and Joes and the X's and O's in this particular context.
For sure. I think you're getting, individuals stepping up across the board. You're getting leadership from different, across the field, whereas maybe that was lacking earlier in the season. Ramiro's been a great leader, but also someone like Osaze in the back line. I think just individually, everybody has stepped up on the Dallas side. And on the Portland side, this is a roster that has been in constant turmoil over the past, 2 years, essentially, since Evander first started having some problems with the Portland front office. Then he leaves. They replace the DPs. Now, during the summer, they're trying to chop and change, bringing in Rojas, bringing in Velde. They brought in another player that then immediately got injured. So this roster has been in constant turmoil. But they're a very different team from last year as well, Portland, because last year they scored 65 goals. And that was incredible, of course, led by the likes of Jonathan Rodriguez and Evander. This year they haven't broke 40 yet. So I think it's a good matchup for the Dallas defense if they can keep the crowd off of them, avoid conceding first, which is something they've done well recently, not on the season, but recently they fixed that and course corrected in that regard. So I think if
if they can see through the first 20, 30 minutes of the game, make sure the crowd doesn't get involved, they can really stifle this Portland attack, even though I think Phil Neville's gone with maybe his most attacking lineup that he could put out tonight.
Yeah, he has, Steve. And we're putting together the notes for this game. There's 3 main threats on goal. That's Anthony, Kevin Kelsey, and Felipe Mora. Mora gets the start here at the traditional striker spot, which means he's going to get the fun matchup of you get to play against Osaze Uriguide for as many minutes as each of you are out there. And for a guy that does have only 5 goals in 30 matchups, I'm not liking his odds to go to 6 goals tonight.
Eric Quill was talking to us the other day saying that he's not sure that any striker right now in Major League Soccer wants to go up against Osaze Uriguide and everything that he presents. To me, the danger man for Portland is Anthony. He was really good the other day as an outlet, as an early outlet, and he was really good in transition against Vancouver. Vancouver did a couple of things to sort of shut him down a little bit more in the second half, but in the first half he was just an absolute terror. He played on the right side the other day, which means it's going to be Bernie and Shaq that would have to contain him, but I don't know, looking at the way the personnel that Phil Neville has put out today, he may be over on the left. We'll have to see, but somebody's going to have their hands full with Anthony tonight.
I'll tell you who else is going to have their hands full, and that's David Ayala. No matter who's in there alongside him in midfield, he's really the only recognized central midfielder. I think it might be David DaCosta, who's more, he's a DP, he's an attacking midfielder, even a winger at times. So it's a very light midfield for Portland. I don't even think of Ayala as a particularly defensive midfielder. He's more of a box-to-box guy. So I think there'll be space and opportunity for Delgado, Kaique, and Christian Kappas in the middle of the field. If they can get some control of the game, they can keep these attacking outlets from Portland from getting involved.
Meanwhile, on the exact other end of the field, you've got Pedro Musa, who's sitting on 16 goals. He's going for the record. He only needs 3 to break it, 2 to tie it, and he's got 4 games to make it happen. When it comes to what Portland is rolling out tonight, Ryan, we believe Kamal Miller, Dario Zuparic, and Finn Sermon in a 3-man back line, although we won't really know until kickoff. I'm not sure I like that matchup for any of the Portland center backs going against one of the hottest, if not the hottest striker in MLS right now.
Yeah, Pedro Musa only played against Portland once last year, scored in that game. He played against them earlier this season in the 2-0 win, scored in that game as well. So he's got good, previous with the Timbers, and those are, some decent center backs. I think Finn Sermon is a standout for them along the back line. Zuparic, and an all-Croatian matchup, but he's giving up age at 33, almost 34 years of age now for Dario Zuparic. I remember Musa largely, being kept on the periphery of the game earlier when they were here at Toyota Stadium. But, of course, Crepeau gave him the gift, and he gets on the score sheet. So I think they actually did pretty well to limit him, especially considering the form that he's been in recently. So that'll be a matchup to watch. If Ferington can get up there and support him a little bit more. Ferington didn't start in that game. It was Julio. So if they can get that combination that's been working so well recently going in Portland tonight, I think that'll unlock Musa.
Pretty brilliant choice by Phil Neville tonight. I think Maxime Crepeau, can I give Dallas a goal? Because not in the lineup.
He's not he was coming back from injury.
Can't give him a goal if he's not in the lineup.
It seems like he got back in time to at least make the bench, but sticking with Pantemis, who's got a much better record on the season. Not surprised to see, between the two Canadian former Montreal goalkeepers, Pantemis is preferred.
It seems like he's played the last few games now. It seems like that's the choice now.
He sure has. He started the last 4 matches. He's got 17 on the year, a 1.18 goals against per 90, and a 78.8% save percentage in those 17 starts.
Yeah, more important, like Ryan just said, 7-3-7 record. Crepeau.
Boy, what a Freudian slip that was right there.
No,
My goodness.
No. Has a losing record.
He does, and which is going to make Crepeau, yes, Crepeau. That's going to make this an interesting goalie matchup, Steve, because Pantemis on one side, and then you've got the scorching hot Jake Jackson, who's only conceded 1 goal on about 1 million shots in his first 3 starts. Admittedly, so many of those came against St. Louis, but he's playing himself into form. And when we talked to Quill about it yesterday, he said, look, this is just where we're at. I can't take him out. I have no way to take him out.
Yeah, I was doing some research into the numbers for the goalkeepers now that we have a little bit more of a sample size for all 3 of them. Now, Jackson's obviously is very heavily skewed by the St. Louis game, but the takeaways from the numbers is interesting because they all have different strengths, and I think we all kind of knew that with the eye test, but to see it play out in the data as well. Martin Poss obviously played behind the back line when it was sort of at sea in the first half of the season. He's faced the hardest shots on the season. Jackson has faced the easiest shots on the season. Jackson can hit the longest average pass. That checks out with the eye test. But Martin Poss has the highest pass percentage on long balls, which is interesting, and I think credit to him, something he improved this year. And then Michael Collodi has good stats across the board, but his best is stopping crosses. He's by far the best of the three. So if you're Eric Quill, which of those qualities do you want, especially once Martin Poss is back, which should be soon? And ultimately, the answer that he gave us is, I want to ride the hot hand. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he told us that if he made the change to take Jackson out of the lineup and they went on to lose, he would be kicking himself because he changed a team that was doing well. So I think that's the logic for him. It's simple, but it's been effective over the last recent weeks.
If there's one thing to watch before we get to tonight, keys to the match, it is that Dallas does have one roster depth problem tonight, and it sits in the midfield. Obviously, we talked about in our first segment, no Sebastian Lletget. He's dealing with a lower body injury of some kind. He is not in the lineup tonight. And you've obviously got Nolan Norris already away with the U20s on World Cup duty. No Paxton Pomacall back just yet. That means your only pure midfielder tonight, Steve, is Diego Garcia in the backup. And, obviously we know Eric Quill knows how to chop and change in mid-game, but if you're looking for a cause of concern for the way that tonight's roster shakes up, I love Diego Garcia. I think we're all pro Diego Garcia here. But, man, that's a young man who doesn't have a lot of MLS experience and might have to come into a big game.
Yeah, I'm not quite so sure about that because you do have a couple of other options. Ramiro, of course, can easily slide in the midfield. Now that means you'd have to move a couple of things around. Don't forget Delgado can play in there. So I'm not quite as concerned about that. And, by the way, I think Diego Garcia is a good player. So if he does come in there, he'll be okay.
I think so. I think we're all big Diego Garcia supporters on this side of it. He was the coach of the winning team of the media game this year. Hey, who was on that team?
No, I'm not sure, actually.
I think, that's right. Two-thirds of the broadcast tonight that were raising their hands. That's right. They were the winners. And, hey, speaking of those winners, let's talk about tonight's keys to the match. They are brought to you by Toyota, and they are brought to you by a winner in Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number one is just dealing with Anthony in transition. We talked about it a minute ago that young Brazilian wingback was really good as the early outlet Wednesday up in Vancouver. He was on the right side then, so we'll see which side he lines up on. Either way, they're going to have to be sharp, they're going to have to be aware, and they're going to need to communicate because if you can take that away from Portland, you've taken away a lot. Anthony in transition. Tight lines in the back is number two. This is where I think Dallas has been functioning at such a high level. The back line coordination between Kaique and Kappas is tight and right. The opposition teams can find some small gaps, but not very often, and usually Osaze or Guide can clean that up. So DaCosta likes to operate between those lines, so if they can keep those lines tight, again, you take a lot away from Portland. And then number three is just a steady Jackson. He's been great in his two starts, but both of those were at home. It can be a little different in Portland. The fans are right on top of you. It's tougher to communicate. He doesn't have a ton of experience in these kind of big games, and he did give up a sort of questionable goal last week, so he's got to hold his nerve tonight. And those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve Davis. Well, it is another six-pointer for Dallas. They're all playoff matchups essentially down the stretch, but this one between 7th place Portland and 9th place Dallas could be the deciding difference in who gets a 3-game series off the bat and who has to play their way in for the final spot. But that's going to do it for tonight's pregame show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for kickoff from Providence Park. It's FC Dallas, it's Portland Timbers, it's MLS After Dark. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas. In the WOW, at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas. where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Ibiaga. Tonight's FC Dallas match is up next, right here on the FC Dallas app.
A rejuvenated FC Dallas is on the road tonight at Providence Park, a venue considered by many, Eric Quill included, to be one of the cathedrals of American soccer, but it's often been a house of horrors for Dallas over the years, who come into tonight with just one win in Portland, Oregon all time. The recent form, though, for FCD will put that history firmly in the back of their minds as they enter the match hot in pursuit of tonight's opponent in the standings and look to put distance between themselves and the playoff line with a win. We welcome you into the final stretch, the playoff push. We've, of course, got it for you here tonight on the FC Dallas Radio Network. Ryan Figert alongside Steve Davis as the teams have taken the field at Providence Park, and we are just moments away from kickoff. And Steve, a huge key for Dallas in this recent uptick of form has been scoring first. And at a venue like Providence Park, it can't be overstated how important it will be to get off to a good start tonight.
Well, I'll even turn that around a little bit and tell you that Portland has not lost a game at Providence Park this year in which they scored first. So 5-0-3 in those games. So you're absolutely right. Need to get off to a good start, which is something they've been doing lately.
25,000 Portland fans expected tonight, and that crowd can get loud and get right on top of you. I was at Providence Park for the 0-0 draw between these two teams last year, and the crowd, it's not right on the field like it is at some MLS venues, but it's sort of tiered over you, and you can feel like that crowd can really weigh on the result tonight. If Dallas is able to get that crowd out of the game, it'll be going huge towards a potential victory on the road, which they've only ever done once at Portland, and that was back in 2016. This season, though, a big draw at Cincinnati, a win at Miami, a good performance at Seattle, even when the team was in a bad run of form. Didn't come away with the result at one of their other house of horrors, and they look to change that at Portland tonight. 2016, going back to Barrios, Castillo, and Tesho, a first-half outbreak and a 3-1 win that time. The all-time series, 12 wins, 9 losses, 10 draws against Portland for FC Dallas. As we await kickoff, Chris Pinso, the man in the middle in his 15th MLS season, over 250 games of experience. He is one of the big-name referees across the league, and he's in for a big game tonight. And, of course, a big venue, Steve.
Yeah, you talked about the poor record during the regular season, but I always like to bring up that wasn't that long ago that Dallas won a big playoff game as an underdog there when they were perfect in penalty kicks under Luchi Gonzalez, and that's a big win. Not too many are around from that team. May only be Paxton now.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, I know he's the one from that previous win, but I think even that one was more recent. The roster's been turned over since then.
Yeah, and another stat that ties Luchi Gonzalez and Paxton Pomacol. That was the last time that Dallas had the same consecutive lineup for 3 straight games, and that is what they do tonight, keeping Jake Jackson in goal behind the same 10 outfielders. That was back in 2019 under Luchi, the last time they had this level of consistency. Looking for that same level of consistency in results tonight. Looking to make it 3 straight wins for the first time in quite a while. We're going to look at the VAR, which tonight is Jeff Gamble and Mike Camp Meinhardt. I didn't read that one before, so that was a challenge to get us going here.
You did great.
We're just about set for action from Providence Park tonight. Getting a look at Felipe Mora, who is rotated into the lineup for Kevin Kelsey. And Steve, this is just about as attacking a lineup as Phil Neville could put with the options at his disposal.
I mean, I'm eager to see exactly how they're lining up, who's lining up on which side. But you're absolutely right. There's 3 defenders and really only one guy that's got any kind of defensive midfield profile to him. So we'll see what happens.
We are underway from Providence Park. Pedro Musa drops it back to Jacob Jackson to get things going. He'll launch it long as he's been known to do, and is now 3 starts with FC Dallas, who will contest for this loose ball, eventually sent the other way for Sebastian Ibiaga and Uragide, who wins the header. Uragide goes flying into a tackle, and there's an early foul called against the Dallas center back.
I thought Uragide was going to clear out about half the Portland starting lineup there.
Another strong tackle from Delgado, another whistle on the far side. Velde wins it, the new number 99 for Portland. A DP picked up from Olympiacos in the summer window as part of a retooling of this Portland roster. Rojas on the opposite wing, another new addition acquired from River Plate, formerly of Inter Miami. Looks like it will be Velde or Rojas. Those two stand over the ball here in the first minute. It's a low left-footed ball from Rojas, volleyed away by Patrickson, back out towards Velde. Velde pokes into the box for Mora along the left side, sliding block from Delgado, puts it behind for a corner. And the Dallas team appeals for an offside that won't come. Now 3 consecutive set pieces to start the game for Portland. We've got 3 center backs in there to aim at as Velde lines this one up. Whipped in towards the near post, flicked along by Kamal Miller, and then Ferington's clearance is blocked goalwards by Miller, but over the top and onto the roof of the net.
Yeah, it was not a good corner kick, but it almost bounced pretty fortuitously for Portland. There's the flick, sort of almost got sneaky there and almost hit that front near post, and the rebound, it did something squirrely and almost dropped in behind Jacob Jackson.
Jackson, long ball forward to Bernie Kamungo. Great flick into the feet of Ferington, who finds Patrickson. Some space here in the center circle. He'll take that space on the dribble, drops it wide for Ramiro. Continues as the Dallas captain tonight. Kaique, dummy from Ferington on the ball, straight into the feet of Musa, back to Ferington, right side. Out to Ramiro on the overlap. Cross is blocked and volleyed away by Zuperich, only as far as Kaique. Out to Logan Ferington, now wide right. Back for Ibiaga. Let's keep it going here on the right side. Dallas gets the ball moving. Ferington now on the dribble after the 1-2 from Kaique. He's tripped up, no foul. And now Portland can send it clear through Miller. And Velde and Ibiaga dueling. And it's Velde who comes away with the ball. Now finds Anthony on the underlap. Anthony crowded out by Uragide there. And it'll spin out for a Portland throw as that went end to end rather quickly.
There's a lot going on here. On the other end, Ramiro, he's not the fastest cat, but he does manage to get himself inserted into the final third quite a bit, as he did there.
Also some nice, sharp, quick ping-pong passing in the attacking third in their first foray forward. Now they're back defending.
There was some contact against Kappas a minute ago, but I think Chris Pence was judging that he was going to lose the ball.
Rojas chipped ball over the top, stooping low to head away is Sebastian Ibiaga. Now first time ball forward from Ramiro. Ferington to Kaique. Now Musa lays it back for Patrickson. Still in the Portland half as he rolls it out to Shaq Moore, who will bring it forward. And now the ball in behind for Bernie Kamungo. Well read by Finn Sermon. Shaq Moore sort of demonstrative towards Kamungo. Told everybody the run that he wanted, including Sermon, who made the interception. Pantemis. Ball out to Anthony. Header towards Mora. Ibiaga sends it downfield. And now both sides will take a quick break. Quick breather here.
They need it. It's a hectic pace out there right now.
Frantic first 4 minutes. It's back with Pantemis. Dallas steps the line of confrontation up. Sermon all down the line. Rojas receives it on the turn into the feet of Mora. Space for him. Drops it off for Ayala. Now Velde. Kaique defending. Velde centrally. Kaique wins the tackle. And it pops out to Logan Ferington, who's tripped up in the center circle. This time he does have the free kick.
Ryan, I think Dallas has to be careful here because, what we just talked about, that defensive stability there and binding those two lines together is what's brought them to this point. But if the game is going to be this frenetic, they're going to get stretched a little bit as they did just then.
Uragide chips ball ahead off the free kick. Petter Musa wins the header, flicks it towards Ramiro, who's kept the run going. And it ends up in the waiting arms of James Pantemis.
This is what I'm talking about. Every time Ramiro gets himself forward, he manages to get around the ball at least.
Miller. Looks like a loose pass, but it broke well for Velde, who wins a foul from Ibiaga. Velde stayed down.
Chris Penso has had a lot to deal with already. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. No big decisions, but he's warning Ramiro now. Dallas with 2 or 3 early fouls.
I think the problem is that they're all against Christopher Velde, and that was what we heard Phil Neville as well petitioning the 4th official. 3 fouls all on the same guy. As Velde does his best Logan Ferington impression in the opening 5 minutes. And we're back to hearing Phil Neville's voice over the airwaves, which we enjoyed
about
about 6 weeks
that.
ago when Portland came to Toyota Stadium.
So Felda's playing on the side with Anthony over there, and that attacking left side for Portland. That's going to be trouble all evening.
Kappas, nice intervention in midfield. Referee plays advantage as he was tripped up. It's Patrickson wide left, cuts back, surveys his options, drops it off for Kaique. Ball into the feet of Petar Musa. Petar Musa looking to turn, forced away by Sermon. Back to the pit bull in midfield. Ibiaga looking to go long. It's blocked by Velda. This one's spinning towards the boundary. Ibiaga keeps it in play, sends it down the field. Now Ramiro cushions it down in midfield for Kappas. Patrickson holds off his man. Ramiro now finds Logan Ferington, a central position here. Ferington looking for the ball in behind. Petar Musa receives it here inside the D, looking for a lane to shoot. Now turns back, left-footed ball, looking for the run of Ferington. And he just didn't make it in time. It goes through to Pantemis, but Petar Musa getting involved now. Going into the game a little bit.
Not a lot of purchase on the shot. It'll go down as a shot on target and a save for Pantemis, but it was a very easy one.
Shaq Moore physical coming together there, but not enough for a foul, so Dallas has a throw-in. Just in front of the two coaches, Eric Quill and Phil Neville, on the touchline tonight. DaCosta playing in central midfield, lifts it over the top for Felipe Mora. If he can keep it in play, he does, but steers it towards Jacob Jackson. Brings it down at his feet.
Do a little scoreboard watching for you here tonight. Colorado and RSL both with 1-0 leads early. Well, not early, just now in the second half. Neither one of those are terrific results for FC Dallas, if it holds.
Logan Ferington along the left side, looking for the 1-2 with Kappas. That one intercepted by Zuprich. Kappas does well on the counter press to win it back. His role continues to grow in midfield as he's settled in back in the club where he first broke through.
You know, all the things that we always talked about Sebastian Lletget doing. Kappas doing it.
Anthony with some space to roam. Ibiaga defending. Ball in behind for Velda along the left side. Uriguide comes across. Forces him back. Anthony finds DaCosta. Left center channel. Delgado closes him down. Here's Ayala centrally. Swung over to Mosquera. Mosquera gets Kamungo up in the air. Now finds Ayala centrally again. Ayala shot from distance. That one spoons way over the bar.
Bernie Kamungo's done a really good job of improving his defending, but that time you said it. He went for the fake, went for the chop, and jumped up, turned his body, and it's not what you want to do. You know, you want to keep your feet moving, and you know, if it looks like somebody's about to hit a ball, you just stand there. You don't jump.
Jackson will send the team up the field here. Long goal kick is headed back the other way by Miller. And then Uriguide returns the favor. Ferington gets a foot on the ball. Kaique finds Ramiro. Back to Kaique. Finds Kappas in the center circle with some space. Ramiro now hits the switching ball, looking for Kamungo. Mosquera wins the header, but Dallas tracks down the second ball. Kaique straight into the feet of Musa. Good first touch from Musa. Gets faced up towards goal. Finds the ball in behind for Bernie Kamungo. Inside the box. Shot blocked by Sermon, behind for a corner, but the flag goes up. And we'll restart with an offside.
And that's what Shaq Moore wanted to see from Bernie Kamungo a while ago. You know, read the run. Now that time he went it just a little early, but read the run, be aggressive, be assertive, take the initiative, get in there, make the run. A while ago it was Shaq Moore who just kept signaling to Bernie Kamungo to make the run. And as you said, by the time he finally did, everybody knew where he was going to go.
Too much on the pass from Kaique, straight out of bounds. It'll be a Portland throw.
Game's 10 minutes old, Ryan. I feel like we've watched about 20 minutes of soccer.
This is how Portland started on Wednesday against Vancouver. A million miles an hour. Got the goal from Kamal Miller to take the lead. And Eric Quill asked about his assessment of that game. Said he felt like there was no way they could keep up that pace. And eventually they did concede a late goal, an equalizer to Brian White. And then Vancouver really pushed for a winning goal after that.
And should have got it. I mean, Brian White missed a sitter. I forget somebody else that cracked one off the corner of the crossbar. He got lucky to get out of there 1-1.
Jackson long ball, header won by Zuprich. And Ka'ike puts it straight up in the air. Ramiro, header towards Delgado, who brings it down. Ferington wide right. Ka'ike back to Ramiro. Ramiro to Ferington. Ebiaga wide right. Logan Ferington on the ball once again, back in the state where he finished up his college career at Oregon State. Wide right, cross whipped in, looking for the run of Ferington, allowed the bounce inside the box, and eventually Pantemis makes the catch. Applause from Petter Musa for the service from Ramiro. Ayala in midfield for Portland. Big job for him with this very attack-heavy lineup. Try and hold things down in midfield. Ball intercepted by Ramiro, looking to go down the line with the Timbers. Now Kappas on the dribble. Beats one man and finds Ramiro. Turned over, though, to Anthony.
Salt Lake now ahead of Austin 2-0, so it's just slowly ratcheting up the pressure on Dallas.
Dallas with a game in hand on a lot of their playoff rivals. Here's a ball in behind for Petter Musa. Flag stays down for now. Petter Musa in behind the Portland back line, but he skies the shot. And the flag went up anyway. I think it was always going to.
I'm pretty sure I saw Petter Musa not only take a glance over his left shoulder, but also over his right shoulder to check for the flag, because I think he knew he was offside there.
Sight of goal early for the Moose, even if it wouldn't have counted. He's in pursuit of some individual history, of course. 2 goals behind the club record for goals in a season, which is 18.
I mean, he found the lane there. He had the right space. He just got in early.
Pantemis to DaCosta. Gets it wide for Anthony. The danger man in this Portland structure, playing at left wing back. Driving forward now towards the Dallas back line. Ka'ike working to get back in position. Velda tried to wait a pass in behind, and it turned out he was offside anyway.
You know, Ryan, the reason Ayala might be okay in there is that sole midfielder is that the way Dallas plays, you know, with Ka'ike and Kappas as 2 midfielders in there, but one of them is going to hold a little bit. If I'm Dallas, I think I'm telling Patrickson Delgado, even though they're playing in a 3-4-3 and they sort of play 3 across, I'm telling him drop in every chance you get and really outnumber Ayala in there.
Header won by Miller on the long ball from Jackson. Under the feet of Velda. And Ibiaga wins the tackle cleanly. Now Patrickson dropped off to Kappas, wide right for Ramiro. Ramiro switching ball, spots Patrickson in some space here on the near side, set down for Bernie Kamungo inside the box. Bernie Kamungo turns, and the ball intended for Musa is blocked out, and looks like it'll be a corner kick.
He was trying to get the ball back to Patrickson, worked a little 1-2 there out near the top of the penalty area. He just turned around and apologized. I think the ball just got caught up underneath his feet on the turf.
Well, with both teams playing a similar structure, the wingback role on both sides so crucial. It's a battle, right? Defense versus attack on both sides in terms of who stays, who goes. Patrickson's lining up Dallas's first corner kick here in the 15th minute. In swinging service right towards Pantemis's near post, and he punches away behind for another corner.
He was a little slow getting there, wasn't he? Almost caught him by surprise, almost on Olympico.
Dallas have scored a corner kick in 2 of the last 3 games against Portland. There's another one whipped into the danger area, head of the way this time by Sermon. Delgado fighting for the second ball, but Anthony wins it, and now they're off to the races here. Velda on the ball, options either side, puts it in behind for Anthony here along the right side. Jackson organizing the defense, cutback ball into the middle. It's a big opportunity for Mora, but I believe a Dallas player got an important block, couldn't tell who.
I don't know, man. Mark that down, 16th minute. I thought Mora had a chance to swing his right leg. We'll see it on the replay here. But he is unmarked as he gets into the penalty area, and he just
didn't hit it well. But Shackmore did block the shot, which was headed on target at least. I think Jackson probably saves it. Big opportunity wasted there for Portland. Biggest chance either way in these opening 16 minutes. Looking to build off of that. Here's Velda on the far side. DaCosta. Down the line now for Anthony. Towards the corner flag. Kaike goes for the sliding tackle. And eventually it spins back for Jacob Jackson, who launches it up towards Petter Musa. Ayala gets the first contact, but it's into the path of Logan Ferington. Now at the feet of Shackmore. Left center back in the back three. To great effect in recent weeks. He rolls this one into the feet of Bernie Kamungo, who tried to go for the dummy and spin in behind. Well read that time by Sermon. Possession turns over to Portland.
It didn't exactly come off that time, but right now Dallas's ability to get out of the back is just so much better than it was earlier this year. It's quicker decisions, it's quicker to be vertical, and it's working.
Rojas falling behind for DaCosta, tracks it down near the corner flag on the near side, set back for Mosquera. Those two exchange a couple of short passes back and forth. Now DaCosta back on it, ball in behind for Mosquera, shot on target. It is saved by Jackson, behind for a corner.
First time Jackson's really been tested tonight. Comes up big, pushes that well wide for a corner kick. A ball from Mosquera, that shot at about 12 yards. Right side angle.
He's unsighted too, that's a good save.
Yeah.
Now a corner kick to deal with. Rojas, an in-swinger from the near side. Looked into the 6-yard box, headed away by Ibiaga. Volley from the top of the box. Mosquera again. This one well over the top. Well, get ready, North Texas. The world's biggest tournament is coming, and FC Dallas is bringing it home with the Club and Country package. For just $35, you can score a custom scarf repping FC Dallas and your favorite World Cup national team, VIP access to our World Cup draw watch party, Hall of Fame admission, and much more. Don't miss out. Visit fcdallas.com/club and country today. Jackson sending the team up the field for this goal kick. This one skewing wide left and just out of play, out of the reach of Logan Ferington. Mosquera goes quickly from the throw down the line. Kamungo wins it back. And it arrives at the feet of Jacob Jackson via Shackmore. Jackson, long ball out to the right side. Good weight on it, looking for the run of Ramiro. And Patrickson's quickly onto the second ball. Patrickson whipping the ball in towards Petter Musa. Header won by Sermon inside the 18. Now Bernie Kamungo finds the loose ball. Poked wide for Petter Musa. All alone here on the left side. Petter Musa to the byline. Cutback ball is put behind for a corner by Zuperich.
Looked like for a second Petter Musa had taken a heavy touch and maybe had lost it. And he puts on the jets. Whips the ball across. There's just a big crowd in there.
Third corner kick of the game coming. Patrickson, a couple of good services earlier. We'll have another one in swinging from this near side. Dallas crowds the 6-yard box around James Pantemis. Whipped in towards the near post again, and this one ripples the net, but wrong side of the side netting. As Patrickson again testing the goalkeeper.
I think he's looking for the near post run from Urguide there, but just didn't quite get enough air onto that one.
Neither team really wasting any time to get the ball back rolling tonight. Urgency on both sides as this playoff race has heated up and in a hurry. 7th through 11th in the Western Conference. Everybody's still alive.
I think you're right. I think they'd like to hit Dallas in transition, but Eric Quill's team doing a really good job of keeping the discipline and getting themselves back, mostly so far getting themselves back in time.
Shackmore, nice tackle, and it breaks for Petter Musa on the halfway line. Set back for Bernie Kamungo. Finds Kappas in the middle. Kappas back out to Kamungo. Musa pops wide to receive it here. Down the line for the run of Ferington and Kamungo. Those two get in each other's way. And now they're both out of position as Portland looks to counterattack with Rojas. Musa helping out defensively to delay as Rojas's ball over the top is overhit.
Again, they want to go in transition, but Dallas's rest defense back behind the ball is pretty good so far.
Ramiro hitting the switching ball. Bernie Kamungo all alone here on the near side. Finds Ferington in a central area. Ferington on the dribble. To the left, cutback ball looking for Musa. Nearly broke for him. Instead out to Kamungo again. Back more into Ka'ike. Ka'ike lines up a shot from distance. Not a bad effort. Just wide of the near post. Certainly had Pantemis interested.
Dallas with not exactly a high press, but a little mid-block press. Eric Will talked about that this week, about how they're moving the lines up just a little bit, and it's by gaining the ball a little bit higher up the field, it's helping them get forward a little bit more quickly and do what we've asked all year, which was just establish a little bit more attacking volume.
Kappas gets it out to Kamungo here. Ka'ike centrally. A little show and go. Gets it back out to Bernard Kamungo. Tripped up. Keeps it alive. Ka'ike back on it. Finds Bernie Kamungo as Ka'ike goes down under a heavy challenge. Yellow card quickly out of the pocket, I believe, from Mosquera.
I think Chris Pinso does a good job, but maybe there would have been better to
play advantage.
Yeah, just play advantage, because Bernie Kamungo had the ball inside the penalty area. I mean, you could always go back and award the yellow card.
Get another look now. Some good footwork from Kamungo. Keep it alive. And then a stray elbow from Mosquera caught Ka'ike up high. It'll be a free kick in a wide position. Set it up similar to a corner, but with a more angle to potentially get this on target for Patrickson.
I mean, Pinso had that card out of his pocket before Ka'ike hit the ground.
Portland sets their line on the 6-yard box here. Plenty of targets to aim at for Patrickson. Up to 5 assists on the season, with one a week ago. Looking for number 6 here. Patrickson in towards the near post, takes a deflection. Zuperich heads clear. Kamungo fighting to keep this alive, takes the shot on the volley, and it goes wide. Prevents the counter, but doesn't really test the goalkeeper in any way.
Yeah, the angle of that free kick, you like to see those go toward the back post and give somebody a chance to get just a little bit of a nick, sort of the way Kappas did the other day. That wasn't on a free kick, but sort of on the same angle. Also from Delgado on the service on that one.
Portland taking some time here, building up in their own half for the first time all night. Sermon goes back to Pantemis. He goes long off the left foot, looking for Anthony in behind. Ramiro gets his body in between man and ball. Anthony still going to keep this in possession towards the corner flag. Back for Velda. Velda whipped in ball off the right foot. Uragide gets a big touch to it, and it goes over the bar. Mora stays down as those two were both fighting for the ball at the near post. Looks like it'll be a goal kick.
Now, uncontested cross coming in from Velda on that side, and it's just it's Uragide. He just cleans up so many messes in there. Really had a stretch for that one.
And it came off of Mora and went down. I don't think there was enough to really warrant a second look for the VAR tonight. Mora wearing the captain's armband, experienced forward back in the lineup, 32-year-old out of Chile. And Jackson's going to be told to retake this goal kick and wait for the whistle, so maybe they are having a second look.
There's just sort of a tangle of feet in there. It's Shaq Moore who falls back behind Mora. I think it's tough to see, but I think it's Urguide that gets the touch.
Looks like it. And the way the ball spins would indicate that to me as well, which would mean Pinso missed the call. It should be a corner, but they're unable to make that level of adjudication from the VAR room. So no penalty and the goal kick to restart.
I mean, to be fair, it's really tough to see with the little tangle of feet in there.
Jackson sends it high. Pedermusa brings it down towards Kamungo. Breaks back for Musa, looking to get turned. Last touch was out off the timbers. Sermon with some verbal abuse Pedermusa's way. There's a ball scooped over the top for the run of Logan Ferington. Closed down by Zuprich. Chased towards the corner flag. Last touch was out off Ferington. It'll be a goal kick. One last look at that chance from Mora. Now maybe a couple of chances for him. There's a ball one back high up the field. Handball appeals waved away by the referee as Dallas put the pressure on. Portland able to work their way through it. Now Sermon drives forward on this near side. Rojas to DaCosta. Here's Ayala. Finds Rojas in the central area. Can shoot from distance, Matias Rojas. This time he goes wide for Anthony. Dallas back in their defensive structure, that forcing Portland back to play between the center backs here. Zuprich back for Sermon.
Shots now at 8-2 in favor of the home team, but it's really only the one chance. Mosquera's shot that Jackson had to stretch a little bit on, and then Mora, of course, having a couple of looks in near goal, but not getting those on target.
Ayala out to Anthony. Looking for the 1-2. Anthony sprints in behind, but he won't receive it this time. It's with Kamal Miller. Velda drops it off for DaCosta. Ayala switching the play now out towards Mosquera. Sets it back from Matias Rojas onto his favored left foot. Cross sort of deflects towards Anthony, mishits the shot, and he had a ton of space, maybe even time to take a touch. And now Pedermusa getting Dallas into trouble with a loose touch as they tried to build out. 1-2 back towards Anthony. Pedermusa makes up for the mistake and wins possession back on the top of the Dallas box.
Yeah, Dallas starting to feel the pressure a little bit now. Anthony, way too much room to shoot on that one. Didn't get a good contact.
Kapis looking for the ball in behind for Kamungo. He knew it was on. He just hit the Portland defender there. Not sure that, I believe it was Mosquera, knew much about it. And now going the other way, Mora splits the center backs. Urguide emergency defending. Wins it back just in time.
Oh, what a play, though. Even in emergency defending, I mean, he just made it look so easy.
And now Ramiro takes the space afforded to him on the far side. Now finds Pedermusa, space in the middle of the field. Lines up a shot from distance, low across the ground, dragged wide. Don't often see Musa shooting from there.
So Dallas got stretched a little bit a minute ago. And Portland, again, trying to hit him in transition. And this time they almost did, where Mora finds a gap in there. But Urguide is just able to turn his body and stick his right leg out there right at the top of the penalty area. But as I said, he made it look easy, though. Knocked the ball right away from Felipe Mora.
Well, we're 1,600 miles away from Providence Park as we call this game from Toyota Stadium, and you can just feel the intensity in the atmosphere of this game. It's given us everything but a goal so far through a half hour. Patrickson on it in the attacking third, wide left. Finds Kaique. Kaique into the feet of Musa. Set back for Ferington, top of the box. Ferington goes down. Now Musa trying to fight through the traffic. Still alive as Miller then steps in front and wins a foul from Pedermusa. Now there's some afters as Miller stands over Ramiro, and that was really uncalled for from what we could see. Ferington claiming that he was getting kicked while he was on the ground. A lot to sort out again for the referee.
I mean, it's a good thing that Chris Penso is an experienced referee because this one's got a lot of intensity to it, a lot of bite. And Penso doing a good job here, just taking a moment.
I don't know what Miller wants Ramiro to do there. He's got to get up as well. He's just standing over him and frustrated that he couldn't go quickly, I guess. For me, that warrants a yellow card for Miller, but I think the referee's going to lean on the lenient side here.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they just sort of got tangled up as they were trying to get up, and you're right. Kamal Miller, I think, taking a little umbrage there that he couldn't get up with that. I think their legs are just sort of tangled up. Maybe Ramiro does do a little bit to make sure Miller doesn't get up and get going before he can get up. I don't think there's much there. I like the way Penso's handled this.
Resume play. Back to Pantemis in goal. Rolls it out into midfield. Ball bouncing off of bodies and breaks for Logan Ferington. Kaike back for Ramiro. First time ball towards Musa. Wasn't quite ready for it. And now a potential break on here for the Timbers. Rojas in possession along the right side. Pokes it in behind for the run of Mora. Closed down by Urquide. Top of the box. Forced wide for Mosquera. Now DaCosta, 1-2 past Kappas. DaCosta ball in behind for Mora along the right side. Again blocked by Urquide. That time actually Shaq Moore covering from the middle of the back three. And Dallas just about maintained possession under some heavy duress. Now Kamungo pokes it into Kappas in midfield. Wide for Ramiro. The pass mishit. Anthony scoops it past Ramiro and then gets back on the ball in the wide left position. Finds Rojas. Rojas cut back ball for David DaCosta. He can shoot from distance as well. Goes down by Shaq Moore into the 18 with Mora wide for Mosquera. Ball blocked by Kamungo, and this one will spin out for a Portland throw.
Oh, you said it. DaCosta loves that spot. He loves shooting from that area right on top of the penalty arc, and good job there by Shaq Moore of closing down that space and not making it comfortable for DaCosta. 4 goals and 8 assists for him this year, but Phil Neville's asked him maybe to be just a little bit more selfish.
Yeah, no goals or assists for him in 8 matches after a pretty good start to life in Portland, including getting named to the All-Star team. The ball breaks for Logan Ferington. High and wide on the right side. He goes down, tripped up. Ayala doesn't like the call, but maybe a free kick Dallas's way. If you want to know about Logan Farrington's penchant for winning free kicks and how he does it, you can tune into the FC Dallas Agenda, where he joined us this week for a great interview. I had to ask him about it because it seems to be, outside of scoring and assisting and incredible connection with Petar Musa, it seems to be one of his best qualities. And we see it there. We see it week in, week out. Dallas goes short from the free kick. Back out wide for Patrickson. Now Patrickson lifts it in towards Ibiaga, challenging for it. Pantemis makes a strong catch in traffic, something Maxime Crepeau was unable to do against FC Dallas earlier this season.
My mind went right there when I saw that ball lofted up there.
Well, here's a mistake from Ayala, loses his footing, gets away with it as Urquide was pressing high. And he's still gone searching here against DaCosta in the middle of the field. Ayala now back to his feet, spreading the play wide for Anthony. Anthony back to Ayala. And now DaCosta, right center channel here, wide for Mosquera, back to Sermon. Portland forced back here all the way to Zuprich.
I think they do a pretty good job of keeping the pitch watered here, but I've seen several balls get caught up under their feet on either side.
Wide with Anthony, some space for him. Numbers inside the 18. Anthony onto his favored right foot, corner of the 18 on the far side. Sets it back. Rojas in a central position. Ball into DaCosta inside the D. Little dinked ball in towards Velda and then sent clear by Ramiro.
I think that's where Neville wants him to be a little less, a little more selfish. Just go ahead and shoot that ball instead of trying to make one more pass there.
Anthony again, corner of the 18. Runners go beyond him. Ball whipped low across the ground without a touch and behind for a goal kick.
If you don't know what I'm talking about a minute ago, on this artificial turf, when it gets dry, it's got a real ability to just kind of get sticky and really just get stuck right under your foot, the ball. So it seems like it's happened a few times tonight.
Yeah, players saying that they think amongst all the artificial surfaces in the league, Portland's is probably the best, but they water it before the game, they water it at halftime. In these final 10 minutes of the half, it may start to play a little slower than they'd like, as Ferington is now whistled for a foul, challenging for the long ball. Velda down the line for Anthony. They continue to probe this right side of the Dallas defense. Ibiaga's dragged out of position here defending, as the ball is whipped into the area, but too close to Jackson, who makes the catch.
Yeah, they've really attacked that Dallas's defensive right side. Anthony and the Norwegian international Velda over there.
Jackson going long, too long that time, all the way through to his opposite number 1. Ayala to the feet of Rojas, dispossessed there by Shackmore in the center circle. Quickly over to Kaique, ball ahead to Petter Musa. Options either side. Petter Musa shot from distance, just wide. Curling towards the back post, not far away.
I thought he had that measured. Hit it at about 25 yards. Had it on his right foot, and boy, there you see the danger of this lineup Phil Neville's played, because as Dallas won possession in midfield, they had the 3 center backs and Ayala. That's it. Those are the only guys back defending.
And they've got 4 going the other way almost instantly. Mosquera finds Velda, corner of the 18 on the near side now. Set back for Ayala. Off his left foot, looking for Anthony, and it's picked off by Logan Ferington in the path, and then sent clear by Ramiro. So much work for Ferington to do up and down the field here to help Dallas deal with this attacking lineup. It's a real chess match as Phil Neville stacked the deck towards his attacking players. Building up again on the far side. Velda in behind for Anthony, who's got past Ramiro here. Anthony to the byline, cutback ball sent away. Sliding intervention there from Uriguide. Dallas in possession in the far side. Ramiro finds Kappas. A lot of space for Kappas. Sees the run of Bernie Kamungo. All alone in behind. Here's Bernie Kamungo now. Top of the box. Left-footed shot. Stonewalled by Pantemis. Dallas still a chance here. Musa wide right for Kaique. Low shot again. Saved by Pantemis. Standing on his head against the Dallas counter. Here's Kaique in towards Musa off the post. Oh, wow. How have Dallas not taken the lead? You can hear Portland with a roar of approval for their number 1, James Pantemis. Dallas with a resurgence there after taking pressure at the other side. Unable to make it count somehow, and now going the other way, Velda. Ball in behind for Mora, foot race to get to it. Uriguide's the favorite to win it, but Mora gets his body in the way. He's got possession here inside the box. And Rojas poked away by Kappas. Now shot from distance for DaCosta's blocked off the back of Shackmore. Patrickson loses possession on this near side. Well, Steve, which part of that do you want to talk about?
39th minute. Here, no time to explain. Let me sum up. All right, Bernie Kamungo. Big save from Pantemis. Kaique. Ball pops out to him on the right side. Kick save from Pantemis. Ball gets kicked back out. Crossing to Musa.
Here's Anthony now inside the box. Low shot saved by Jackson. Back out towards Anthony. Headed away by Kappas. And volley clear by Ibiaga.
Musa's header. Good one off the post a minute ago.
Dallas building up on the right side with Logan Ferington. 5 in the attack for Eric Kuhl's side. Here's Ferington to Musa. Musa at full sprint along the right side. Heavy touch. He just about gets there and wins a corner from Sermon.
And then Musa puts his hands on his knees. He's tired. He's got a right to be. Back at the other side a minute ago. Close range. Jackson with a good save on a close range shot.
Kamungo had so much time to think about it, and I liked what he tried to do. He tried to lift it over the keeper, but Pantemis just stood tall for long enough to get a hand to it. And Kaique got it on target. Not a great effort. Musa's, though, Really unfortunate. Maybe a slight touch from Pantemis, but a whole lot of post to keep it out. Now a corner coming for Patrickson. First time tonight from the opposite side. Patrickson in towards Uragide, headed away by Sermon. Top of the box, Kaike tracks it down, nodded out towards Patrickson again. Measures this in towards Kappas, top of the box, and it was just a difficult one. Had space, but tried to take it on the first time and skewed wide of goal.
Yeah, it just popped up on him a little high, and he didn't really have time to readjust to it. I tell you what, 42nd minute here. There's a great pace to the game, a real feel to it. There's a real energy. Portland desperate to stay, not to drop any lower than where they are, which is in 7th. Dallas desperate to keep their spot, the last spot in the playoffs right now.
There's a ball in behind for Bernie Kamungo along the left side. Via Logan Ferington, Kamungo tries to cut towards the end line, but just lost his footing there. Behind for a goal kick. Both sides, hands on hips, heavy breathing. 3 minutes plus stoppage time away from the halftime break. This game has been played at a frenetic pace. Here's another giveaway in midfield. Kaike into Ferington. First touch pops up on him and he turns it over. And then quickly wins it back with a touch away from Velda. And Kamungo goes down, shoved by the Portland 99.
I mean, Kappas and Kaike right now are really good in the midfield. I don't think this, I don't really think this structure has really worked the way Phil Neville wanted it to, although I guess you'd have to say that they're winning the battle over on that left side. That's where most of the good attacks are coming from, or in transition.
Both coaches with a handbrake off tonight. Patrickson, 2 arms raised. Free kick from some distance, lifted in towards the back post. Volleyed up in the air. Ibiaga on the follow-up. Now shot through traffic is off target from Kaike, who pleads for a corner kick that he won't get.
Well, I think they're pleading for a corner kick. There's appeal for a handball. A lot for Penso to adjudicate.
Getting a look at it now. Portland players getting in their own way, and Ibiaga striking it on the volley. Sermon made the block, and it did not involve a hand there. He kept those tucked into his body well.
Yeah, it may have indeed hit his hand, but you're right, he had it glued to his hip.
Pantemis chipped the ball towards the halfway line. Header won by Uragide. Patrickson trying to win a flick on there, but it just bounces over his head. And now he'll sprint back in defensive position as Portland switch the field towards the other side. Velda now lines up a shot through traffic from distance, and Jake Jackson just can't be beaten right now. Puts that one behind for another corner.
I think he even saw it a little late. I think he was leaning to his left, but he's able to react really well. Get back down to it, low to his right side. Push that one over for a corner kick.
Some real power in the shot from Velda. Another corner as Velda draws the applause from the Providence Park faithful. Final minute of the first half. Crowded 6-yard box for Jackson to navigate. Velda whips in towards the near post, and Ramiro got the first contact, putting it behind for another corner. Velda, another chance at it here. This time some more air underneath it. First contact there met by Mora, then Stuparic tries to swing it on target, eventually volleyed clear. Anthony out to DaCosta off the left foot, low ball in, Sermon sets it back, now shot through traffic, Rojas blocked. And Musa will keep this from being a corner. He's all the way at the corner flag on this near side, now sends it way long. And for Bernie Kamungo, who's in behind here, if he can bring it down, Miller gets back just in time. Incredible pass from Petar Musa, 70 yards in the air. And now at the other side, Ramiro at full stretch to put it behind for a corner and keep it away from Velda.
Yeah, Ramiro really had a scramble. He almost got caught out a little bit there.
I mean, we need some timeouts to break down the action that we've seen tonight. We just saw Petar Musa hit a 70-yard dime And that's going to be a footnote as Jacob Jackson picks up a yellow card for delaying the restart. Two minutes added on. We've played nearly one. Corner whipped in towards the near post, flicks off the head of Ramiro and beats Jackson for the own goal. And that is a dagger at the death of the first half.
Yeah, Velde put in a really good corner kick from the left side. It was an in-swinger. Ramiro at the near post. I'm not sure he's the one you really want there. We'll have to look and see if he got dragged over there on a mark. I'm sure it's Ferington or Musa that's stationed there. It's actually Kappas. Ramiro just can't get up high enough. I mean, he's not really even challenged on the header.
That's a really unfortunate one. And just too quick for Jackson to bail him out. Right on the stroke of halftime. The Timbers' pressure finally pays off with the own goal for Ramiro.
I mean, to be fair, the pressure's been on both sides. I mean, Dallas has had their chances in transition, and I mean, we saw the big three-shot sequence a minute ago. Two good saves by Pantemis and one out the post by Musa.
Aragide goes long, header one by Mosquera up in the air. Rojas flicks it away. Kaique sets it down for Shackmore. We've played just about the 2 minutes added on. Shackmore goes long. Miller sends it back the other way, and that will do it in the first half. A very hotly contested six-pointer here in this final playoff push. And a big blow right on the stroke of halftime. The Timbers will take the lead into the break. A lot to talk about. Probably not enough time, 15 minutes, to break down what we just saw. But we'll need Dallas to fight back in the second half. We'll talk about how they can do that and much more on the halftime show. For now, though, Portland leads at Providence Park 1-0. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And a spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Petar Musa and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 45 plus at Providence Park, it's FC Dallas trailing Portland Timbers 1-0 in a true six-pointer in the Western Conference playoff race. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by Advocare, building champions together. I am your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a few moments by the voices of tonight's contest to try and Figert and Steve Davis. No halftime highlights, even though Dallas does score a goal. It just happens to be an own goal. Ramiro in the 45th plus second minute corner kick bounces off his dome right past a flying Jacob Jackson, and that makes it 1-0 Portland at the stroke of halftime. So that means it's time for your halftime stats, and those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Portland's winning the possession battle 60-40. 13 shots for the Timbers, 3 of those on target. For Dallas, 11 shots on goal, just 2 of those on target. 5 corners to 4, the decisive win there for Portland, with the final one being the corner that resulted in the own goal. You've got 3 saves for Jacob Jackson, 2 for James Pantemis, although that feels a little bit low based on just the sequence in the 39th minute. 6 fouls for Dallas, 5 for Portland, 1 yellow card apiece. That's Juan Mascara for the home side and Jacob Jackson for the visitors. Let's bring in our team for the evening and try and figure it. It's Steve Davis. And Ryan, I have written down my notes. It feels like an FC Dallas mistake will lead to a Portland goal. I wrote that down in the 35th minute. About 10 minutes later, unfortunately, that's exactly what happened as Ramiro commits the own goal to give Portland the lead.
Yeah, Dallas playing with fire on that far side with Ramiro and Anthony, and that was the sequence that led to them getting the corner, and eventually the corner goes off Ramiro. I don't really want to pick on him because he's in a really difficult matchup just speed-wise against Anthony. I mean, Anthony would have the speed advantage against almost anyone on the field, and we know Ramiro is far from the quickest player in the Dallas roster. So tough matchup for him on the far side. Dallas, in general, they let Anthony in a couple of times, but limited anything that came from that, with the exception of that corner kick. And statistically, look, guys, Dallas had the better chances. They created more in terms of XG, big chances. They hit the post with Petar Musa. If we go into half here 0-0 without that corner kick goal, I think we're feeling really good about that performance on the road at a difficult venue. Now it's going to have to be about bouncing back. How can they get back into the ascendancy that they showed on the counterattack throughout the first half?
I mean, look, 11 shots in the first half. There's plenty of games this year when Dallas hasn't even had that. That's above their season average. So 39th minute, Bernie Kamungo with forcing a big save off Pantemis. 2 seconds later, Kayike forcing another big save. 2 seconds after that, it's Musa off the post. Dallas has had their chances. Ryan and Sam, I think it's interesting because the game's been fun to watch. Both teams have had something that they can feel good about and something that they feel like, we really have to watch this. For Dallas, it's been Bernie Kamungo on the break, getting up forward quickly from that left wing back position. It's been Dallas really sort of winning a lot of balls and that pressing out of the mid block. Not a high press, but pressing really in good structure in there. Portland, on the other hand, they've had some joy down the left side through Velde and Anthony, and then they've found some success in transition, which is the way they really want to hit you. So it's been fun to watch.
And specifically for Dallas, their best moment came in the 39th minute when Bernard Kamungo starts a sequence of 3 shots that just barely miss. Kamungo gets saved by Pantemis, so does Kayike, and then Musa with a header bounces it off the near post. I mean, that's one that if Dallas ends up losing this game 1-0 or by any 1-goal deficit, Steve, they're going to look at that sequence and go, that could have been the moment where that really turned the game around.
That's the sequence I just referenced, and yeah, you're right. It was a good one, and they were a little bit unlucky not to score there.
Yeah, and I think you just look at the playoff picture and how that one goal right before halftime changes everything. Now Portland hops ahead of Austin, who's getting smoked on the road at Salt Lake tonight. Dallas drops from 9th all the way out of the playoff picture completely to 11th. I mean, these games, obviously Dallas has a game in hand, and it's against the LA Galaxy, which we think is a much easier matchup than what they're facing tonight. But look, guys, games in hand only matter if you convert them into 3 points. And Dallas, needs maybe a draw here to stay in the top 9. Not that the playoffs start tomorrow, but to stay in the good way that they've been, keep the unbeaten run going. They're going to have to find a response in the second half.
And, one thing we talked to Eric Quill about on Thursday, we mentioned it in the pregame show, was this game is starting to look a little bit like it did in Vancouver when Portland started off really hot. But then the second half, it was the Caps that really found their way back in and clawed a draw. I mean, this was a high-tempo, high-intensity first half for both squads. Ryan, I guess the question will be which squad is better prepared to really weather this, because as we get to 60, 65, 70, that's going to weigh on those legs. There's going to be some tired guys out there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that will tell us one way or another is when does Phil Neville bring in reinforcement in the middle of the field. You've got obviously an MLS legend in Diego Chara, or Christian Paredes is there as well, longtime midfielder for the Timbers, just to provide some more stability in midfield, defensive midfielders like that. Because right now they're giving up a lot through the middle of the field. Kappas and Kayike are both doing really well to control the game. Ferington and Delgado are picking it up in those pockets, and Musa's dangerous, getting shots from distance. So they're giving up a lot in the middle of the field. In exchange, they're killing Dallas on the far side with Anthony and with Velde. So how long is Phil Neville willing to live with that risk-reward? That'll tell us how the second half plays out.
Yeah, the other thing about the other day when Vancouver really did take over in the second half, that was in Vancouver. It's a little different when you're playing at home. And, they've also got João Ortiz, who's I think is a pretty good midfielder, a little bit more defensive-oriented. Not sure we'll see Diego Chara tonight. He's 39. He played a bunch of minutes the other night. But you're right, Ryan. He would be a good one to bring in as they try to close it out if the score stays this way. But I'll mention again, it wasn't just the other day. There have been other games this year when they've had trouble closing out results.
I'd be remiss, Steve, I didn't bring up another strong game from Osaze Urugide. His coach was very complimentary of him when we talked to him at the end of the week, and we've called his name several times throughout this broadcast as a guy that just, hey, when something goes wrong, he's the guy in there to clean it up. There's a couple of very good interventions. I mean, he's like a magnet to problems. Wherever there's a problem, bam, he's right there.
The one that stands out to me is when Felipe Mora actually found a good lane, and he got played in on a diagonal ball, and it looked like he was about to break in. He got the ball right around the top of the penalty area. Good first touch. Looked like he was about to break in, and maybe you thought Urugide wasn't in the best spot, and he sort of turns around, makes up the ground in one big step, and just sort of flicks the ball casually away from Felipe Mora. I mean, I swear it looked like Mora was about to break in, and he would only have Jacob Jackson to beat. And all of a sudden, Urugide just recovers his space, gets his feet up underneath him, and turns around and flicks the ball away.
Yeah, if you're going to play with fire, which Dallas has done throughout this first half and some of the wide areas in particular, it's good to have a firefighter as good as Osaze Urugide in the middle. He's just putting out those chances left and right, and also doing it with composure to get the attack going the other way. I mean, it's easier to just clear the ball, put it out of play, and regroup, and he's almost always thinking in the next play ahead, where can I find a teammate and get us going out the other way. So just another incredibly impressive performance in the middle of that back three. But honestly, all three center backs did well, I think, in the first half.
I think so, yeah. Shaq Moore coming up with a couple of big plays. And I do think Dallas might have to just shift something or shade somebody over to that side a little bit, because Anthony and Velde are just are such a handful over there. And you saw that Ryan referenced it a minute ago. Ramiro really started getting stretched there toward the end, and he's going to get tired, and it might be that you've got to maybe move Shaq Moore over there, do something, move Ramiro, back into the center of the field. I'm not sure what exactly the adjustment they might make, but Ramiro is getting stretched just a little bit right now, I think.
Yeah, looking around the league at some scoreboard watching, which of course we have to do at this time of year. It was good to see Minnesota got a result, a 1-1 draw on the road at Colorado to keep them from getting 3 points at home. Houston lost earlier in the day. Salt Lake did win, which I think they're really the team to watch in terms of pursuing Dallas. They also have the same number of games remaining. They got a 3-1 win over a rotated Austin team who are, have both eyes really on the Open Cup final in midweek. So San Jose also leading on the road at San Diego, which, they're still not completely out of it. So some results going against Dallas across the league, and they've got to respond in the second half.
Quick reminder of the subs for Dallas tonight that are available: Lalas, Boubacar, Dietzen, Alvaro, Anderson, Julio, Pedrinho, Josh Torquato, Diego Garcia, and Enes Sali. I don't read off Michael Colodi because I hope we do not have to worry about him coming into this one, but Eric Quill does have some tools at his disposal as he tries to get his squad back into this one. Dallas currently trailing 1-0 to Portland after a injury time own goal by Ramiro off a set piece to just, one of the most unlucky goals you're going to see all season for FC Dallas. But that's going to do it for the halftime show. We'll take a break. When we return, Ryan and Steve get you ready for the second half of action from Providence Park via Frisco. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino star.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi everyone, it's Paxton Palmacall, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
We welcome you back in as we await the second half kickoff from Providence Park. FC Dallas trailing 1-0 on the road at the Portland Timbers tonight. And a big playoff 6-pointer. Just taking a look at the table right now. As things stand, Portland moving up into 6th position, dropping Austin into the 7th hole. Colorado in 8th, San Jose in 9th, currently leading at San Diego. Salt Lake in 10th, and Dallas now down in 11th. Just 3 points behind 8th. That is the margins that we're talking about in these final few games of the regular season. Steve, though, a lot of reason to hope for a Dallas comeback on the road at a venue in which those have been hard to come by.
Look, Dallas is playing well. I outlined some of the things that I liked. A couple of subs now coming in, looks like, for Portland, so maybe they're going to go a little bit more defensive. We'll see if it changes it, but I think Dallas has reason to be optimistic here.
That looks like Paredes and Smith, a central midfielder and a left back, into the game for Phil Neville, who went with a very attack-minded lineup from the start, got the lead at the halftime break that he was looking for, and now makes the adjustments, though it looks like the structure will largely stay the same.
Couldn't see who they came in for, but looks like Smith is going to go to his usual spot, which is wing back over there on the left side.
That doesn't look like Smith, Steve. It looks like Timber Joey.
It does, you're right.
So we're getting a look at the fantastic support at Providence Park for the Timbers ahead of the second half kickoff. Ian Smith, in his 18th appearance of the season, he was a draft pick out of Denver.
So Smith will come in from Mosquera, so that'll be like for like on the left side. That means Anthony will probably go over to the other side unless he's the one that came off. We haven't seen that yet. Ayala's the one that looks like he's out. He's out now, Sam Hale says.
We are back underway for the second half of action. Dallas trailing after the first 45. Looking to make their chances count here in the second half. Portland going quick out towards Velda on the near side. He can't keep it in play. Be an early Dallas throw. And that chainsaw is loud, isn't it? Kappas sends it down the field. Musa challenging for the ball. Zuprich goes down. Referee plays advantage here. Remember, Musa is carrying the yellow card warning, as is Ramiro. Neither one booked in the first half, but both one yellow card away from suspension, and a game played at a breakneck pace like this was in the first half. That's certainly a risk.
Yeah, and so much to talk about in this one. Didn't even mention that the only Dallas yellow card is to, surprisingly, the goalkeeper.
There's a nice combination at the top of the box. The Kaique then dispossessed by Paredes. Straight into the action off the bench. DaCosta to Anthony, who now attacks Shaq Moore on the far side. Anthony to Felipe Mora. Kamungo gets a foot on the ball. Now Paredes trying to put it in behind for DaCosta, but too much on it. And it's out for a goal kick. Well, how quickly can Dallas maybe tweak what they talked about at the halftime break? Because I'm sure Anthony was at the center of the conversation. Now he's on the opposite side for Kamungo and Shaq Moore to deal with. The more traditional left back in Ian Smith on the near side. Ramiro chipped ball forward, deflected up in the air. Settled by Patrickson at the feet of Ramiro. Wins the tackle. Gets it over to Kappas. Kappas, ball over the top, looking for the run of Ferington. Brings it down with a nice first touch towards the corner flag on the far side. Set back for Kamungo. And the flag goes up. Belatedly there against the big dog.
Just to clean up a little housework. So Paredes came in for Rojas, who was pretty quiet in the first half, all things considered.
That's definitely a defensive change. That will shift DaCosta more into the attacking areas. Antimus goes long. Header won by Anthony, helped on towards Mora. Shaq Moore fighting for it. Ball bouncing there, stays with Portland. Anthony forced back. Ayala now with some help in the middle of the field. Paredes in there alongside him. They get it out to Miller, who lifts it in behind for Smith. Smith fighting Ramiro, and Ramiro trying to shield it out of play. Eventually, Smith got a touch to it, got the cross away. Urquide sends it clear, and then Kappas is fouled in the midfield.
I don't think that's great news for Ramiro. Now he's got to deal with a player in Smith who's got fresh legs.
I don't know. I think he'd take the trade-off. Anthony
He's
got to be one of the fastest players in the league.
Sure, but he's still got Velda over there to worry about.
Jackson takes the restart towards Logan Ferington. Ferington, cushioned header back towards Musa, top of the box. He breaks for Bernie Kamungo, wide left, chipped ball in, looking for Patrickson, but Miller gets a touch. Sends it down the field. Mora and Urquide tangling. Urquide wins the battle, sends it down the field. Delgado flicks it on, and Miller sets it down for Smith. Sent downfield, Urquide. Just incredible what he can do with just a drop of the shoulder and a turn away from his man. Under pressure, keeps possession. Ramiro down the line for the run of Kappas. Smith, after it was sent back his way, Ramiro though restores possession. Shackmore on the halfway line. Out wide left for Bernie Kamungo. Not on the same page there as Ferington. Went for the 1-2 and left it short, and now going the other way. Attack led by Sermon into the attacking areas. Ball in behind for the run of Velda, forces him wide. Ibiaga closes down just outside the 18 on the near side. Velda looking for a lane to shoot, and his shot is blocked up into the air by Ibiaga. Musa quickly onto the loose ball, sets it for Ferington. Ferington not much company in the attack, will slow it down. And last touch went off him after a nice tackle from DeCosta to win a throw for Portland.
Right, I was having a laugh because Sermon, as he won a ball and had a lot of space in front of him, attacked the space correctly, but he just never really looked like he was really sure about what he needed to do as he got into the attacking third. He's a center back, of course.
Yeah, we're used to watching Osaze, who seems to know what to do in every situation.
Yeah.
That is much more standard for even a good young center back in Finn Sermon. New Zealand international, represented his country at the Olympics last summer.
I swear I saw a little panic in him when he got into the final third. He just had the look of, I just don't know what to do now.
Pantomis goes long. Smith wins the header. Ibiaga gets his body in the way and then goes down under a shove from Velda. Light contact, but enough to send Ibiaga to the ground. To be fair, he did try and keep his feet. Played 5 minutes here in the second half. Dallas looking to respond after an injury time own goal. Gave Portland the lead in the first half. Ball into the feet of Musa. Nice first time ball to Patrickson along the left side. Here's Ferington now inside the box. Left footed shot is saved by Pantomis. Flag again up belatedly. Sharp combination between the Dallas front three. Pantomis looks in some good form tonight.
I mean, the game is starting. The second half is starting just like the first, wide open.
Ferington just about a step offside there. Collision in midfield, not enough for a foul either way. There's Kappas on it, quickly closed down by Paredes, but he finds Patrickson now on the turn. Central areas, chipped ahead towards Kaique. Not sure what Kaique was supposed to do with that pass. He turned it over, and now there's a chance going the other way. Anthony on the far side, 3 to his left, whips the early cross in, and Ramiro got a touch, not a convincing one. Spins back out for Velda. Velda to Paredes, corner of the 18. Back for Ayala. Positive first touch. Now a shot from distance is pretty comfortable from Jackson, who got his body behind it. I'll tell you, Portland, more than I think anybody across the league, is not afraid to pull the trigger from distance.
Ollie hit a good shot there. He just hit it right at Jackson, and even then Jackson had to knock it, do the thing where he had to knock it down, take the pace off of it before he grabbed it.
Difficult ball for Zupric to deal with under pressure from Musa. Gets it out to Sermon. Musa continues the pressure. And Sermon turns back. Portland maintained possession as Zuprich swings it across the field to the near side for Miller. Biaga chasing Velde all the way into the Portland half. Now Miller bringing it forward on the dribble, steps past Ka'ike. Referee doesn't see enough for a foul. Now Ka'ike has space on this near side. Logan Ferington checks to the middle. Ramiro goes on the overlap. Ka'ike still in possession, looking for options, and ran out of them quickly as Ayala dispossessed him.
Oh, he had to figure out something to do, anything to make a pass. He just sort of, it was a paralysis by analysis there. Ka'ike just dancing on the ball at about 30 yards out. And just got to take it away from him.
And Patrickson, just a nudge into the shoulder of DaCosta, wins it back. Just too strong for him there. And now he leads the break. Ka'ike out to Kamungo, a lot of space on the far side. Whips it in towards Ferington at the back post. And Miller got a big touch to it, which put Ferington off. Last touch off of the big dog behind for a goal kick. Oh, Dallas doing so many things right. Just looking for the breakthrough still.
It was a nice delivery from Bernie Kamungo on the left side. Had Miller facing his own goal, which is what you want as an attacker.
Velda makes a run in behind as Ibiaga's dragged out wide right here against Ian Smith. He'll make his way back into position as Paredes receives it in the middle, out to Smith. Ayala on the halfway line, gets it out to Sermon. Moves it on towards DaCosta. DaCosta with big shoes to fill this year as Evander departed in the offseason. There's a loose pass, nearly gave possession away to Petter Musa. Ayala coming out to his teammate's aid. DaCosta again. Ball in behind, looking for Mora. Kamungo, really good interception there at full stretch. And now Kappas finds Musa, central areas. Spots the run of Logan Ferington in behind, but the ball too straight there, just takes it through to Pantemis.
It's 55th minute, and Ryan, it's a cool night in Portland. It's, you know, high 60s there, but the game's just got such a pace. You just wonder if Eric Quill's got to go to his bench a little bit earlier than he likes to tonight.
Well, I know he hasn't been in the best form of late, but I feel like this game could get stretched for Anderson Julio to really make an impact. And Ferington's been on the edges of the game. He's had a couple of chances. He's been offside a couple of times. Maybe Julio can make a difference. Pantemis on the ball here, not closed down as Dallas takes a quick breather.
Pedrinho's a guy that can operate pretty well out in space. Maybe he's a guy that can come in.
Velda and Ibiaga tangling on the halfway line. Now Velda puts it in behind. Kamungo will have to get the full sprint here as Anthony closes him down. And Kamungo does well just to shield it out for a throw.
Anthony's got some wheels, but I think if he sees that pass a little bit earlier, Dallas might be in trouble.
Ka'ike, left-footed balls, looking to switch the play. Sermon, though, wins the header on the other side. Kamungo out of position, and a big coming together there. Shaq Moore just bodying up Anthony as he looked to knock it past him. That's a yellow card out of the pocket for Shaq Moore. I was a little bit worried. I don't think there was malice in it, but I think he got his hands up higher than was comfortable.
Well, Anthony pushed the ball by him. He was looking to run around the other side, and Moore just got in his way. And honestly, I think Shaq Moore, even if he understood he was going to have to take a yellow card there, I think it was probably a smart play because, I mean, he was flat-footed, and Anthony was about to just scream right by him.
Second player booked for Dallas tonight. Jackson and Moore in the book. And Velda will stand over this. Looking for his first goal. He forced the own goal in the first half. Put in towards Mora. Header at the near post is off target. The veteran forward unable to treble Jacob Jackson there. long by Jackson. Musa wins the flick-on header. Ferington unable to keep it in play.
San Jose still ahead of San Diego. That game's in Southern California, so a little bit of a surprise there. The game roughly about the same minute as this one.
Kamungo, nice volley ahead. KK into the feet of Patrickson. Wide left for Petter Musa. Musa chops back onto his right foot. Back heel for Kamungo at full sprint, looking to get in behind. Sliding tackle is a good one from Ayala. And now Anton to Urugide. Not that dissimilar from the situation with Shaq Moore moments ago, but inside the box, you know things are refereed differently. And Paredes is appealing for a high arm from Urugide.
Yeah, I think the difference is there that Ibeaga's got to get to that ball.
And we restart play with not much of a check from VAR. There's Patrickson on it in the wide areas. Back for Ramiro. Down the line again to Patrickson. Kaike's run frees up the space for Musa. Now out to Kaike along the right side. Set out for Ramiro. First time cross towards the back post. Kamungo will attack it. Anthony with the height advantage there just flicks it away from trouble. And now at the other side, Shaq Moore has to be careful. He's got to let Anthony go here. Now 2v1 for the Timbers. Anthony against Urugide. Cut back for Velde, and he got it all wrong there. The new DP looking for his first signature moment, but he sent that way, way back into the stands.
I think Velde probably needs to make a back post run there instead of sort of looking for the cutback ball at the 18, and in the end he does get a shot out in space, but he's moving fast, and it's a hard shot to hit when you're moving that fast. And he put that into the second deck there at Providence Park.
We've played an hour now. Lead still with Portland. Dallas looking for the equalizer. Ramiro brings it up the right side. That's it back for Ibeaga. Right on the halfway line.
Eric Quill's got to start thinking about changes. Dallas 15 minutes into the second half. They haven't had a shot since the break.
Ramiro gets turned, finds Ferington, central position. Ferington loses out there to Paredes, and then Ferington goes down, and Paredes called for a stray arm, I think. Dallas didn't even have possession, but they'll get a free kick.
Dallas appealing for something more, and Chris Pinso giving them the squint and the come on, guys.
Yeah, pretty clear obstruction from Paredes.
Yeah, it was.
So a free kick from probably about 40 to 50 yards out centrally.
That's not a bad distance, though, for Patrickson to serve.
Two arms raised as he looks around and surveys his options. Dallas sending the center backs forward to attack this. Numbers towards the right side of the box. Patrickson along the ground finds Ferington, space for him. And Dallas called for obstruction in turn there, setting the pick to free up Logan Ferington. Not one you see called very often.
Was it that or offside?
I didn't see the arm raised.
Yeah, I guess not. I didn't see the pick.
Kind of assumed that because he was so open, somebody was blocking off, but Dallas now ready those changes. Julio and Pedrinho. There's a good moment from Kamungo. Wins it back on the far side, taking the space afforded to him. Anthony goes flying in, and he's going to pick up a yellow card and give Dallas another free kick in the attacking area. And Anthony, for all his positive attacking qualities, still getting used to life as a wingback, a la Bernie Kamungo. Got caught out here.
I think Kamungo's doing a good job of making him work back.
So now he'll have to navigate the rest of the game, as long as he's on with the yellow card. And Patrickson can line up another free kick.
This is about the same spot We saw him hit one in the first half. I hope he goes for the back post this time.
Portland sets the line a couple yards into the box. 6 to aim at for Dallas. Patrickson on the approach towards the back post. It's Ibiaga there, but Pantemis makes the catch.
A little too much air under that one. You like to see him whip balls in from toward the back post there.
Dallas putting the pressure higher up the field in the aftermath of the set play. Portland largely play through it. Now Smith driving into the central areas past Ramiro, but runs into Urquide. Oh, Urquide. A defender with a highlight reel. Nice flick away from trouble.
I mean, you'd think the coaching staff would tell him, just don't go toward that guy. Don't go toward number 3.
Ferington now brings it down wide area. 1v1 with Kamal Miller. Finds Kaique centrally. Wide again with Ramiro. Now targets to aim at in towards Patrickson. Delgado just nods it off target.
It's a good cross there from Ramiro. Delgado had a little bit of room, and he just didn't get the header right.
It's perfect for him.
He's right in between 2 of the center backs, and kind of crowd at Providence Park goes a little quiet because I think they know that Dallas just missed an opportunity.
It's one of those, he tried to go towards his left. And a lot of times coaches will tell you to nod it back towards the opposite way because you can get more clean contact. I'm getting a look at the changes now. Julio and Pedrinho in for Kaique and Delgado. Attacking changes for Eric Quill. Looks like maybe a little unorthodox here.
Yeah, maybe they're going to go to 4 in the back. Ramiro is sliding over.
All down the line, retrieved by Ibiaga. He'll go back for Jackson. I think Julio's just playing wing back.
Yeah, it looks like, I think you're right.
On the right side.
So Ramiro goes in for Kaique in that spot alongside Kappas in the midfield.
Pedrinho pretty like for like with Patrickson. Saw him force the own goal to seal the game last week against Colorado. And he's done so much good work off the bench this season. Urquide, too much air underneath that ball, looking for Kamungo. Headers won by Anthony. Now maybe a counter attack on. Sliding tackle from Ramiro is a good one. Dispossesses Da Costa. Kappas to Pedrinho, middle of the field. Pedrinho dispossessed, not a good time for it. Mora loses out to Urquide. It's just ridiculous at this point.
The game's got a high tempo, and Pedrinho is going to have to get with it real quick.
Here's Bernie Kamungo, breaks nicely for him. Now finds Pedermusa centrally. Pedermusa on the dribble into the 18 now, looking for a lane to shoot. Gets it caught underneath his feet. Eventually it's sent clear by Paredes. I think we talked about seeing the confusion in Finn Sermon's face earlier. I think we saw the fear in his face there as Pedermusa was charging at him. Couldn't make him count that time. Now Ramiro again defending from the wrong side against this time Paredes, but he gets it out to Velda. Velda cuts past Ibiaga. Shot is right at Jacob Jackson. Palm down for Ibiaga to send clear.
Velda had Mora over there. Mora wanted the ball. Velda shot from 18 and put it right at Jackson.
First chance for Julio to get out in space now on this right side. Closed down by Mosquera. Cuts back. Finds Kappas. Kappas to Ramiro. Dallas with a lot of bodies forward in this attack. Kappas wide for Julio. Pedrinho receives it from Ramiro. Ball in behind. Look, here's Pedermusa now, chips it towards Pantemis, and it's a big save again from the Portland goalkeeper. And again, the flag up belatedly. And Musa didn't know it at the time, but Ferington, I think, was the intended target, and he was onside from my eye.
Not right. We keep wondering if the teams can keep up this tempo. Well, 68th minute, I mean, it hasn't slowed down.
Jimmer Forey, like for like, replaces Kamal Miller. David Da Costa is replaced by Omir Fernandez.
Half of Pantemis' saves aren't going to count tonight.
He's been busy, as have the Dallas forwards, but they've...
Well, you know, Bernie Kamungo broke in early in the second half and forced a pretty good save from Pantemis, but the flag went up on that one. We just saw the flag go up that time, and it's Pantemis save from Musa.
Well, it's been Pantemis and Crépeau battling for that starting goalkeeping spot all season long for Phil Neville. And at some point, he just had to look at the record and make the simple decision. Pantemis, 7 wins, 7 draws, 3 losses in net for Portland. As Crépeau below 500 on the year.
Crépeau didn't help his case at all when he dropped that ball and gave Musa the easy goal in the game in Dallas.
Pantemis sends it down the field. Over the head of Uragide, got a flick off of him. Now Jackson in no man's land, but he timed it well. Mora went for the chip, and everything is coming up trumps for Jacob Jackson. Side of that first half own goal.
You just don't see Uragide make a mistake very often, but he made one there. Just didn't get a clean header.
Here's a ball in behind for Logan Ferington. I think he's offside, but he'll take the shot on anyway. And Sermon with a push from behind, and the referee's given a penalty. Oh, what a huge moment. They'll have to check it for the offside flag. But Petar Musa puts Ferington in behind. Sermon commits the foul. And as it stands, Dallas a chance to equalize from 12 yards.
And a yellow card for Sermon. They'll check it and make sure Ferington was onside.
Oh, it's going to be close.
It was Musa with a really nice release ball out of midfield into Ferington.
I don't think there's any question about the incident.
There's absolutely no question about it.
The question for me is it a red card? Because there's no challenge for the ball.
Well, he's close enough.
Now we wait with bated breath here. As the video assistant referee, much closer to us, they're stationed in Arlington, Texas. In a lot of ways holds the fate of this game in their hands right now. The call on the decision, onside, the call on the field was onside and penalty. Petar Musa has the ball now set down at the spot, waiting for final confirmation to step up and take the penalty.
They're going to look at it, and they're going to tell Chris Penso to go take a look, and I think they're going to tell him that Ferington was offside, and that's going to wipe out the yellow card and the penalty kick.
It seemed to me that it was always pretty clear. I was surprised with how often the flag has gone up tonight that it wasn't up. Well, they're showing him the actual incident.
Yeah, they are. What's
checking red card? Okay. So they
I
aren't
see.
even looking at the offside line here. We're getting a look at the replays that they're showing Chris Penso. For me, it is a red card, and you don't see it given very often, but the rule is inside the box, no double jeopardy, meaning if you go for the ball and you commit a foul, you're not going to give away a penalty and a red card. But for me, Sermon isn't going for the ball here. He just shoves Logan Ferington in the back.
No, I think you're right. At first, I thought maybe that you could. Trying to hear Penso's. Yeah, I think you could. At first, when I saw it, I thought, well, maybe just the feet got tangled up, and you could say at least make the case that he was going for the ball. But no, on the replay, you're absolutely right. He just barrels him over from behind, and I assumed they checked the offside.
I think he upheld the yellow card. We couldn't quite hear him well, but it's going to be Petar Musa from the penalty spot. A huge moment, not just in the game, but in the Dallas season. Rests on the shoulders of Petar Musa. Here he is on the approach. Petar Musa powers it past Pantemis. Dallas equalized at Providence Park. That one as top corner as you can get.
Unsavable. Petar Musa with power. Goes to his right, keeper's left, goes high. Dallas hasn't always been the best from the 12-yard spot this year, but Petar Musa made no mistake with that one.
Well, if you remember an iconic moment in Petar Musa's FC Dallas career, his penalty kick against Austin, where he smashed the camera in the top corner. This one was even more top corner than that. incredibly precise from the Dallas DP. Now up to 17 goals on the season. Back into it here at Providence Park. What a huge moment that may be in 2025 when we look back at the end of the season.
Oh, remember, it was Moose's pass that put Ferington in on that. So Moose getting it done, sort of on the sort of assisted on his own goal there, in a sense.
Ferington and Moose combining for a goal again. And I believe, I don't have the live standings in front of me, but I believe that puts Dallas back into 9th place where they started the night.
Right, 15 of Dallas's last 24 goals now, either from Musa or Ferington.
Now Portland looking to respond. Smith down the line for Velda. Julio defending, puts it out for a throw. And how long does Eric Quill want to stick with this attack-minded lineup with Julio at wingback now that he's got the equalizer? There's a throw into the box. Mora holding off for Aguirre. Mora looking to turn. Kappas stabs it away. Anthony on the far side plays it down the line for Fernandez. First action for him off the bench. Anthony driving centrally, shot from distance, pretty comfortable for Jacob Jackson, diving down to his right. And now Jackson launches the punt long. Ferington, clash of bodies there with Forey, and Ferington has gone down, as has Anderson Julio in the aftermath. No foul on either occasion. Ibiaga, some really good defending against Velda on the halfway line. Now Ramiro looking to go quickly out to Julio, but got that pass off the mark. Out for a throw. 15 plus stoppage time to go. The game and the season could swing on a moment here. Kappas, nice work in midfield to win it back at the feet of Pedrinho. Forwards up ahead of him, chips it in for Petar Musa. Set back for Logan Ferington, looking for a lane to shoot, drop of the shoulder. Now Ferington wraps the right foot around it, and it bounces off Sermon out for a corner.
Ferington did such a good job there of carving out space for the shot there. Sort of corner the penalty area, a few steps inside it. There's a big block. Pedrinho will go over to take the corner kick now.
No more Patrickson to stand over this, so it will be the young Brazilian. Crowded 6-yard box to aim at. There's Pedrinho on the approach. Scoops this one in. Pantemis with a nice catch, not too contested. It's just too much air underneath that one for Pedrinho. Rolled out to Jimmer Forey.
Kappas got that attack going a minute ago that ended the corner kick on a recovery. I mean, he's been doing that all night in the midfield.
There's a ball out to Anthony Uriguide defending in the wide area. Uriguide just going to watch this one over the line. Too strong for Omir Fernandez.
I mean, that's not a contest.
That's not even making his highlight reel tonight.
That's not even fair. Uriguide decided that he was just going to shepherd that ball out. Fernandez had absolutely no chance.
And here's a giveaway in the aftermath of the goal kick. Fernandez back on it, second chance, gets it wide for Velda, left it wide of him. Velda just about able to keep it in play. Support from Smith. Got a Julio to jump and now whips the ball into the danger area. Uriguide wins the header. All the way out to Forey at the other end. Julio jumps the passing lane, and Julio held back by Smith. That's going to be an easy yellow card there for the young Timbers fullback, because Julio was about to do some damage going the other way.
I mean, Chris Penso's had a lot to do tonight, and I think he's done a really good job.
Well, join FC Dallas for Fan Appreciation Day, where we celebrate you, the fans. FC Dallas hosts the LA Galaxy on Saturday, October 4th here at Toyota Stadium. Bear in mind, kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. A little bit of an unusual time for that one, but should be a nice fall afternoon. You can visit fcdallstickets.com for more.
Ryan, Jacob Jackson's faced 21 shots so far. And ordinarily, you'd say that's a lot, but of course, as he got into As he broke in with FC Dallas, he faced a lot more than that. So
Kelsey on to replace Felipe Mora, like for like up top. They gave Kevin Kelsey the wrong color undershirt. That's not the right green. That's Austin green. Long ball launched up towards Musa. Ferington interested in that second ball, but Sermon wins the header. Now out to Anderson Julio, going from outside to in on the dribble. Sets it up for Kappas. Back to Sebastian Ibeaga. Ramiro out to Julio again. Looking to use his speed up against Smith. Pedrinho back wide right for Ramiro. Back to Pedrinho. Dangerous position here. Ball in behind for Petar Musa. Petar Musa looking to go towards the near post. And that one fired just off target. Huge opportunity there from the run of play for Petar Musa.
Yeah, Musa's penalty kick was so good, but his shooting otherwise hasn't been the best tonight.
He's onside too. Anthony a step behind the rest of his teammates. I think Pantemis on all of these offside calls has really gotten ahead of both Musa and Ferington a little bit. Making so many saves, even if they don't go down on the score sheet. We've seen Musa hit that exact shot high towards the near post a couple of times this season. Too much underneath at that time. Ibeaga in the 80th minute on the Dallas right side. Rolls it out to Julio. First time ball to Ramiro, who lifts it in behind for Pedrinho, but difficult ball for him to deal with. He puts it out of play.
Ryan, as the game is still pretty wide open, what do you suppose Eric Quill is thinking? Because a point here is not terrible. You take 2 points away from Portland as well, and you got potential 6 points coming against the down and out LA Galaxy.
I think we'll get to it in just a moment. Here's Anthony on the dribble, outside the in, sets it back for Paredes, top of the box. Velda back to Paredes, nice 1-2 up in the air, and it's a volleyed finish for Paredes to score. Portland retake the lead.
Oh, just one too many runners there for FC Dallas to deal with. I mean, credit Portland for getting a lot of numbers into the attack.
Paredes on at halftime, making a real impact here. Velda is going to pick up the assist for a really nice chipped ball back to him on the 1-2.
Neither Kappas or Ramiro follows the run in. So he is all alone there. It's a simple finish. Along the backside. Nobody tracking that run from Paredes.
Well, it required a incredible pass from Velda. And a good run from Paredes to beat Jacob Jackson here. And now it's a rescue mission again. 10 minutes plus stoppage time. For Dallas to fight back. Having equalized 10 minutes ago through Petar Musa. Velda really showing his quality there. Why they brought him in. Reported $5 million fee from Olympiacos in the summer. Urguide tested by Amir Fernandez again, and now Urguide goes down, winning the free kick. And gets it quickly going out to Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore looking for the ball in behind for Kamungo, just off the mark. Now Anthony will bring it forward on the dribble, past Ramiro. 3v2 here for Portland. Anthony out to Velda. Velda cuts back towards his right foot. Julio gets back defensively. Velda frees himself up. Low shot saved by Jackson. It looked like it was saved by Jackson, but he'll get a goal kick out of it.
He's pretty upset. He's got a right to be. I'm not sure what Chris Pinto saw there. Yeah, Jackson definitely gets a save there.
A lot of saves on both sides that won't show up on the stat sheet tonight. Petar Musa brings it down at the other end. Long ball from Portland will be retrieved by Shaq Moore. As it stands, Dallas falling down to 11th. 2 points behind the final playoff position. Sorry, just 1 point behind San Jose.
San Jose still leading in that game too. That's San Diego.
That was one they didn't really expect to have against San Diego, who's in the conversation for the Supporters' Shield. Although Philadelphia looks like they're going to ride their momentum to the finish after a 6-0 win against DC today.
That right before we came on the air, or maybe you said it at halftime. Yeah, you're right. That could have been worse than that.
Pantemis will send Portland up the field here. 84th minute. Header won by Ibiaga. Pedrinho and Julio combined on the near side. Pedrinho, nice step past the man, and now looking for Ferington on the run in behind. Sermon makes the interception. Arguide brings it down on the long ball. Now Ramiro chips it in behind the run of Bernie Kamungo. Top of the box, cushion down, looking for Pedrinho. Last touch, I believe, was off Portland. Out for a Dallas throw here in the attacking areas, wide on the far side. Pedrinho, ball in hand, surveys. Goes back for Shaq Moore. Midfield with Ramiro. He's going to send the switching ball towards the back post. Musa nods it back towards Ferington. Set back towards Anderson. Julio shot through traffic. Deflects past Pantemis. Dallas back level again. And a welcome back to the score sheet for Anderson Julio. What a crucial time to make your mark.
Hey, Dallas getting a little lucky there on the deflection, but you know, they don't go in unless you shoot them. And ball fell nicely for Anderson Julio. He knew he wanted to get it on target, which is exactly what he did. Credit, by the way, Logan Ferington for sort of keeping the play going there. As Peter Musa won the first header. Ferington getting to that ball first. Just sort of nudging it back toward Anderson Julio. I think he knew what he was doing there, and Julio's got 3 players in front of him. 2 defenders and the goalkeeper, and actually 3 defenders and the goalkeeper, and can't tell whose leg it hit off of. It doesn't matter.
It had a little deflection, but there's a chance that's a Musa and Ferington assist for Anderson Julio. His first goal in a long time since the home game against RSL. Fifth goal of the season, and Eric Quill immediately turns to Lawless Abubakar to come and try and see this one out, get the result.
Yeah, that answers my question from a minute ago, doesn't it?
Ferington will be the one replaced.
Now what to watch here is how much stoppage time, because there's going to be quite a bit.
No, Farrington's replaced here. He made his mark on both goals, winning the penalty, setting up Anderson Julio for the second equalizer. His return to Oregon tonight. Didn't make the score sheet, but he'll be on the highlight reel, Logan Ferington. Julio takes his spot in the front line. Shaq Moore shifts out to right wing back, and Abubakar joins the back 3. Now Portland look for a counter blow. Forey swings it out to Ian Smith on the near side. Velda looks like the danger man tonight for Portland. His cross is blocked behind by Ibiaga. It's going to be a corner kick coming.
Going to be the 6th one tonight, and don't forget it was a corner kick from the same side, hit by the same guy that's about to hit it, Velda, that turned into Portland's first goal.
Timbers fans rise to their feet as Velda takes the approach in towards the near post. This time Ramiro gets an important touch and sends it clear. Foot race to get to the ball between Anthony and Pedrinho. Pedrinho nearly picked his pocket. Kamungo, oh, he's called for a foul there as the counterattack was on. 50-50 call goes against Bernie there, and now Portland go quickly. Anthony whips the early cross in. Ayala header just over the bar. I mean, half the stadium thinks they've just taken the lead again.
Yeah, the way the header grazed the top of the net, had the net rattling and had the crowd rattling too. It's Ibeagha and Urigide that sort of make a sandwich there. Just making sure the header isn't won cleanly.
Urigide is slow to get up. Now help to his feet. So we're heading into the final minutes of regulation. Dallas started a 6-game unbeaten streak with a home win against Portland. Looking to make it 7. Snatch a point on the road tonight.
I mean, you can't fault either team here for not really going for it tonight. I mean, Portland with 24 shots. Dallas with 16, and that's a good total for the road.
Well, here's Anthony, eyes on another go-ahead goal. Driving forward up the right side, cuts back. Past to Urigide, shot blocked by Abubakar. And Kamungo's first to the loose ball. And Kamungo makes his way past Anthony now. And then misses the pass towards Julio.
Portland definitely the team more interested now in finding the winner.
Velda into the feet of Kelsey. Urigide wins it off him and then goes down, tripped up, but he found Musa with the pass anyway. And Musa looks up, but Julio went too early. He was offside. Quick 1-2 with Pedrinho. Appeals for a handball waved away as possession turns back to Portland. Zuperich out to Omir Fernandez. Wide for Anthony. 3 to aim at in the middle. Anthony on the dribble. Off the outside of the right foot. Cross blocked by Abubakar, who's then picks up the second ball and finds Petar Musa. Petar Musa out in front of Anderson Julio. Foot race here. Beats Sermon to the ball towards the corner flag. Julio, most recent name on the score sheet as we head into 7 minutes added on. Petar Musa chips this one in behind. Anderson Julio denied by an acrobatic clearance from Jimmer Forey.
It's a nice pass from Musa again.
Mungo dueling with Fernandez high up the field here. Dallas not just content with the point as we play in second half stoppage time. Portland builds out of the trouble and finds Velda in the central area. Velda driving ahead, past Ramiro, whips the right-footed ball in, but is blocked by Abubakar. Out for a throw as we played 1 of 7 added on.
Dallas really not throwing a lot of numbers forward, but they really don't have to, Ryan, because Portland's putting so many numbers forward that when Dallas counters with just 2 or 3 guys, you know, they've only got 2 or 3 guys back there defending for Portland.
Well, Kappas has just gone down, and he's getting stretched out for a potential calf or a hamstring problem. You turn to the Dallas bench now, and you don't really have a senior option. You've got Dietzen in the wide areas, but in midfield, it's just Diego Garcia that's left and available. Sebastian Lletget, a late scratch after a training injury. Would be really nice to come into this game right now. He'll be unavailable. We'll see what Dallas chooses to do. If Kappas tries to play on, he'll have to wait off the field, so you don't think that's an option for Eric Quill. They're going to have to make a change. They do have the 1 sub window remaining, and it is going to be Diego Garcia. And what a moment to come into a pivotal final 5+ minutes in the Dallas season. And it's number 50, Diego Garcia, is going to make his MLS debut at Providence Park tonight.
Tough ask of the young man.
He'll be in there alongside the experience of Ramiro. And you think all this time is going to be added back on, so we'll play past 7. Welcome to Major League Soccer, Diego Garcia. Now go see this game out. As Kappas is moving on his own power, walking off the field here, which is a good sign to see. Massive performance in midfield from him tonight. As he passes the baton to the teenage homegrown midfielder.
Diego Garcia is a really good technical player, really busy in there. He's got to be careful not to get physically overwhelmed. He's not a big guy.
Anthony takes the throw, and this one's going to bounce through mercifully for Jacob Jackson. No Timbers players interested in putting pressure on him, so he takes a few extra seconds before picking it up. Now Jackson sidewinding punt high into the Portland Knight. That one out of the reach on Petter Musa. Halfway through the 7 added on. There's probably 2 more to play after that.
Somebody really ought to tell Sermon to knock some of those black pebbles off his head, off the turf.
Shows you how locked in he is. That would be so irritating, I think. He's fully focused on the game at hand. Julio putting pressure on Pantemis and blocked it out for a Portland throw. And now Julio's pulled up. And he's limping away from that altercation. Throwing into the feet of Kelsey. Garcia stabs it away from Smith. Out for another Portland throw. Smith with the throw in down the line. Garcia helps Dallas win it back. Good first couple moments for him. Boubacar all the way back to Jackson, who launches it with the first time ball out towards Kamungo. Up in the front line here. Kamungo loses out to Anthony this time. But then Anthony loses out to Boubacar. Out wide for Pedrinho. Numbers in the attack here for Dallas in the final minutes of stoppage time. Pedrinho in for Diego Garcia along the left side. Cutback ball deflects into the path of Pantemis. And now Dallas needs to get bodies back. They do get back in formation. It's wide with Velda, who's taking the space afforded to him on this near side. Smith goes on the overlap. Velda, pass intercepted by Uriguide. Garcia sends it down the field. Wide for Fernandez in Portland. Corner of the 18, cross dugout, headed away by Uriguide. Musa can't control it. Velda gets it wide for Smith. Smith, left-footed cross, headed away by Ibiaga, right back to Ian Smith. Suprich over to Ayala. Ayala wide for Anthony. Only move it here from right to left. Jameer Forey into the feet of Kelsey. Not clean with his touch there, has to go back to Forey.
Yeah, Portland's attack is awful narrow right now. They do well to get a couple of guys out wide. Finally getting it there now.
Wide right with Fernandez, who will run at Bernie Kamungo. Kamungo giving him all he can handle physically and coming away with the ball. Now Julio dribbles it clear, pokes it in between the double team, and wins a free kick. I mean, Bernard Kamungo at left wing back. What a turnaround for him this season. Another fantastic performance tonight. Stood up 1v1 there in the duel.
And he's done it on both ends. You're absolutely right. He's given him something and pushing up the left side in the attack. He's given him good defending. What a story that's turned into.
Boubacar goes long with the free kick. Sermon wins the header. Garcia wins the throw. We're approaching 7 minutes, which was the prescribed added time. There'll be a little more. Bernard takes the throw, volleyed away by Ayala into the chest of Kelsey. Uriguide wins the header. And now Uriguide lining up a shot from distance. Thinks better of it, finds Pedrinho to the right. Uriguide goes on the overlap. Pedrinho digs out the cross towards Petter Musa. Back in front, Diego Garcia. Oh, it's away from him by Pantemis. And that would have been just the moment. But now going the other way, Fernandez finds Kelsey in the middle. Kelsey in the center circle, out to Velda here on the near side. 1v1 with Shaq Moore, top of the box onto his right foot, shot way off target. And everybody throws himself to the turf after making another field-long sprint. It was nearly Diego Garcia to win it for Dallas.
Again, you can't fault either team for not going for it. That's a 27th shot for Portland. Dallas now at 17 shots, and that means that's matched their season high. It's been a crackerjack of a match.
And credit to Pantemis and to Zuperich for reading the situation and keeping that from being a Garcia tap-in to win the game. Boubacar sends it long, taking the goal kick there. And now Velda past Shaq Moore Ibiaga does well just to come across and win the free kick as he was dumped to the turf in the aftermath by Velda. And I think
Phil Neville upset. I don't know what he's upset about. It was a foul.
We'll just be glad our crowd mic is further away from the Portland bench.
No, Velda just showed him too much of the ball. Ibiaga came over. He got to the ball. He got hip checked by Velda. I mean, it's just there's nothing vicious, but it's a foul.
You think there may not be time for much more as Ibiaga lines up this free kick. It's the 99th minute. Launches it long and we play on. Garcia wins the header, flicking it on towards Pedrinho. Faure wins it straight up in the air. Julio challenging for it. Referee plays advantage. Out to Fernandez. Abubakar wins the header out of play. And still we play on into the 100th minute. Fernandez dispossessed by a sliding tackle from Ramiro. And that will do it. What a night at Providence Park. There won't be a winner, but that was one of the games of the season. Both teams chances to win it in second half stoppage time. Dallas fighting from behind to equalize twice on the night. I mean, Steve, if we want to talk about the character and the turnaround of this FC Dallas team, it's unrecognizable what we just saw, that team compared to what started the season.
Look, the whole thing, though, you're right. There's quality out there, but there's also a lot of grit. It's, I'm sure, a little disappointing for Eric Quill that they couldn't come out with all 3 points, but I think it's a really quality performance. I think it's a good point on the road.
Well, this run started with Portland coming to Toyota Stadium, Dallas winning that one 2-0. It will continue after a 2-2 draw against the Timbers at Providence Park tonight. 7 games unbeaten, 3 games to go in the season, still everything to play for in terms of the playoff positions. Thank you for joining us for the game broadcast tonight. It has been a fantastic matchup at Providence Park. Post-game coming up. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to get your comments in for us to discuss. No, there's a lot to discuss. I got a feeling this will be a long post-game show, but it was a fun one tonight. Thank you for joining us as this one finishes up 2-2. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Marco Farfan, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Are you not entertained after 90-plus minutes at Providence Park? It's honors even. Portland 2, Dallas 2. Each team takes a point, but I have a feeling one team feels a lot better about their point than the other team feels about theirs. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. It's also brought to you by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's track meet/soccer match. It's Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, but they need a minute to catch their breath. So let's get to tonight's postgame highlights. It didn't start out well for Dallas, as in the 45th plus second minute, Ramiro puts one in the net, except it's his own net. It was an own goal. That put Portland up 1-0, and that was the score at halftime. But then in the 70th minute, it was Logan Ferington bearing down on goal when Finn Sermon hits him from behind. It's a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. That made it a penalty, and then it was Petter Musa to the spot.
A huge moment, not just in the game, but in the Dallas season. Rests on the shoulders of Petter Musa. Here he is on the approach. Petter Musa powers it past Pantemis. Dallas equalize at Providence Park. That one as top corner as you can get.
Musa's 17th goal of the season. He's one away from tying the single season FCD record, made it 1-1 in the 73rd minute. But then Portland struck back 8 minutes later. It was Christian Paredes putting one past Jacob Jackson. That made it 2-1 Portland. But then 4 minutes later, it was the super sub Anderson Julio equalizing the score.
Pedrinho, ball in hand, surveys. He's back for Shackmore. Midfield with Ramiro. He's going to send the switching ball towards the back post. Musa nods it back towards Ferington. Set back towards Anderson. Julio shot through traffic. Deflects past Pantemis. Dallas back level again. And a welcome back to the score sheet for Anderson Julio. What a crucial time to make your mark.
Julio levels the score in the 85th minute, 2-2. And after a furious 9 minutes or so of injury time, it ends at honors even 2-2 in Portland. Let's bring you tonight's post-game stats, which are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession goes the way of the home side, 57-43. 27 shots for the Timbers, 9 of those on target. Officially 16 shots for Dallas, 4 of those on target, although one may be added on later on. 6-5, the corners battle goes to Portland. Dallas offside 6 times tonight, just a problem they had to address, including a couple both for Logan Ferington and Petter Musa. 8 saves for Jacob Jackson, 2 saves for James Pantemis, although again, the offsides cost Pantemis about 3 to 5 saves tonight so far. 14 fouls for Portland, 4 yellow cards, 10 fouls for Dallas, just 2 bookings for the Burn. As we bring in the commentating crew for tonight's match, you try and figure it's Steve Davis. And, you know, obviously we're in the situation where Dallas needs every single point they can get. But, Ryan, when you look at how this game really unfolded and you combine that with Dallas's just poor record overall in Portland, this is a draw that really does feel like a victory if you're in the light blue tonight.
And it almost was a victory. I mean, that Diego Garcia chance that wasn't a chance because it got cleared away just before it got to him. I mean, credit to Dallas. I think, you know, they brought on Abubakar after getting the second goal just to shore things up, but they didn't change their mentality. They still went for the win. It was still end to end, and you know, it wasn't good for the heart, this one, but it was great on the eyes. It was a great game back and forth all night. Dallas pushing, I think, really creating the better of the chances all night long, and the stats, you know, that plays out in the stats, which I think Steve has ready for us. It was a really, really good road performance tonight, and Eric Quill mentioned to us that, hey, this may be somewhere we have to go in the playoffs, and so if we can go there and get a good result, that puts us in a good mental state no matter where we have to go, because Providence Park is one of the most difficult places to go in all of Major League Soccer. I think they showed they can play anywhere. They've shown that all season long. They've been great on the road. This was another road performance to be proud of.
Look, you said it a second ago, unbeaten in 7, and it was one that they really deserved to walk out of here with that unbeaten streak intact, because this was a Portland team that I'm telling you, they've got good players. They've got good players up front. I think there's really good stuff from goalkeeper Jackson. I think there was good stuff from Osaze Urugide, and the goals themselves. You know, there's quality in the goals. If you look at the second one, it was Ramiro putting in a nice. Ramiro does a really good job, by the way, of understanding where Petter Musa is, understanding which target to go for. So it was his cross. Musa and Ferington combined to keep it alive until Anderson Julio hammers a shot that gets deflected. The first goal is real quality because it's Petter Musa out of midfield, finding a really good passing lane, putting it into Logan Ferington. Ferington understanding that he's got himself between the defender and the ball, and he's got good position there. He slows down a little bit, gets barreled into from behind. Musa with a quality penalty kick. So there's just quality all the way around. It's not like they squirreled this one out. It's a desperate Portland team playing at home, and they did enough things on the defensive end. They took 16 shots. I'm telling you, they had 16 shots, Sam, when Diego Garcia put that last shot in. Maybe they counted that as a cross somehow. But
I think that should be 17
yeah,
myself.
one way or the other does it. You're right. I think so too, but it doesn't matter too much. But it's a match I think Dallas and Eric Quill can feel good about.
Especially when you consider, and I thought we would end up referencing this moment again in postgame, when you go back to the first half and you had 3 pretty clear shots at goal from Kamungo, Musa, and Kay. I mean, this is a game you could have won, and some people may look back at that and go, "Oh man, we could have won. We could have had all 3 points." But I think based on the way the season has gone and just the quality of opponent being on the road, you got to go, "Hey, you could have won this game." And there's a lot of key performers that it comes down to tonight. But it'd be remiss if we don't start with one of the guys you just highlighted, Steve. It's Petar Musa. He gets number 17 off Logan's penalty. He had, as you said, he started off that penalty with just a gorgeous pass. He started off the sequence for Julio's goal. I mean, there's a real chance he ties the penalty next week against the Galaxy. By the way, doesn't get another yellow card. He is walking the line, to his credit. I mean, just even if he doesn't get the record, you can make the argument this is the best overall pound-for-pound season for a Dallas striker at this point.
I think it would be hard to put it, to come away with any other conclusion, because now last 10 games he's got 10 goals and 2 assists. That includes an 8-minute sub appearance against LAFC and a 45-minute game in which he had to come off against Austin. So even then, if you go further back than that in terms of games in which he's played a majority of the game, it's probably an even better record. 10 goals and 2 assists, and it's not like he's the type of scorer. I mean, this isn't a bad thing necessarily, but he's not the type of guy to get a hat trick and then go 4 weeks without a goal. He's scoring every single week for this club. You can start the game with a 1 on the Dallas side right now because of that form from Petar Musa, the way that he can bring other players into the attack as well. He was responsible alongside Logan Ferington for drawing the penalty. Without him, that a great through ball that doesn't happen. And then again on the second goal, winning the knockdown, winning the aerial battle, which I think he was really, really good at tonight. 5 out of 7 on his aerial duels, and up against 3 center backs, that's not easy, but he won the crucial header. Ferington gets it over to Julio. So everything starts and ends with Petar Musa and with Urguide at the other end, who I'm sure we're going to talk about soon as well. I mean, those 2 guys, Dallas have best 11 quality at both ends of the field.
Yeah, and I think Sam mentioned this a minute ago. There's so much to talk about here. Sam, I don't really recall if you did mention this, but Musa also off the post with the header that came out the cross from KK.
He could have had 18 tonight.
Yeah, honestly, his shooting, he was only 1 of 6 on putting shots on target. When you come off the post, it's not counted as on target. So he had 6 shots tonight. The one that he had on target was a penalty kick to win in, but I always think that if you hit the crossbar of the post, you should count it as on target. So
I agree.
You actually hit the target itself.
You did hit the target, exactly. So thank you for that. So yeah, absolutely great performance from him. I'm telling you, that pass to Logan Ferington to set up the penalty kick, it was just a peach.
It's almost like those 2 are having a competition. Who can have the better assist on any given week? Logan's won the last 2, and Musa's like, all right, bet I'm going to do it better this week. And boy, he unleashed a killer.
He doesn't get an official assist on that second goal because as he plays the ball back to Ferington gets a little nudge, but the ball comes off a defender in that moment, so it takes the assist away from both of them. So that's too bad. Otherwise, he has his 7th assist on the year.
That's a spiritual assist, I would argue. I think if FC Dallas's media notes want to reflect that, even if it's not official, I'd be very okay with that. And meanwhile, his counterpart on the exact other end of the pitch, Osaze Urguide, my goodness, I'm lost for words at his performance because when we started the season again, I feel like it's worth saying we didn't know anything about this guy except where he played. He had a pretty well traveled career, and he was the highest signing in FC Dallas defensive history. Well, now fast forward 30 games or 31 games even. Where would they be without him, and how scary a place is that? Because he puts in just another great performance tonight through 90 minutes. I mean, as good as Musa is on the other end, we're seeing what should be a best 11 performance from Osaze on the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a little bit of a look at what the season would look like without him, and that was the stretch in the summer when they lost every game. I mean, there's a lot that's changed since then. It's not just all down to him, obviously, but yeah, I mean, his importance allows Dallas to push the wingbacks up the field. It allows them to be aggressive because he covers for everybody else. Genuinely, he is almost worth 2 guys out there with the amount of ground he covers, with the way that he just completely neutralizes the forward from the other team. I mean, we have since the peak of Matt Hedges, we have not seen a player at this level in the defensive areas. It's ridiculous every week, and he does it with style as well. I think, if Dallas had been better all season, or if they played in LA or Miami, I think this guy would be getting shouts for best 11, and his name would be thrown in those conversations because he's a showman on the defensive end. And the way that he'll just marshal the ball over the line and give the guy a little shove at the end, give him a grin. I mean, so much personality in the way that he defends. He's got absolutely everything that you could want in a defender, and it's just a joy to watch him week in, week out.
Well, everything you could want, including the fact that he's a real bother out there. I'm thinking of another word that a coach told me one time. He was like, hey, half of being a center back is just being a bother, and he used a different word. But
I think I know what word you think. Please do not say it.
And and he's got that. I'm sure forwards around the league now, and Eric Quilts sort of talked about that this week. That he said, nobody's relishing going up against Uriguide right now because not only is he good, not only is he fast, not only is he strong, but he sort of seems to relish, making you look bad and making you feel bad out there. 8 clearances, 4 tackles, 5 recoveries tonight for him. I also think in the midfield, I think this is one of Christian Kappa's best games, maybe defensively his best game for sure. He did have 7 passes into the final third, so he was also effective with the ball, but 4 tackles. 2 clearances, and I told you about how recovering the ball in the midfield was sort of what he was really good at tonight. Six recoveries. He was 27 of 34 passes, 51 total touches. He was exhausted. He was cramping and did have to come out toward the end. And then Diego Garcia comes in and gives him some good minutes.
It almost scores the winning goal for on his debut.
Well, yeah, but even more importantly, though, he was winning balls in midfield and helping move the possession out of the back. So I think that was a really good debut for him.
Yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm going to program on the fly here for next week against the Galaxy. Can we get an Osaze or Uriguide head right in the center of our backdrop? Because we got Hedges over here.
Yeah, we have Hedges in the.
But I think I want Osaze's head right in the middle because that's where he plays in the back three. Just put him in the middle of the backdrop there, and I think that'll be his rightful place.
Absolutely,
his rightful place on the field at the very least.
Sam, I don't think we should go much further here without talking about what this does to Dallas in the standings.
Well, by all means, then go right ahead.
So Dallas does drop out of that ninth spot. They have 38 points now. They're tied with San Jose on 38 points for that 9th spot. Right now, the first tiebreaker does go to San Jose because it's the first tiebreaker is wins, and San Jose has one more win. But all that said, Dallas has a game in hand over San Jose, and Dallas has 2 games coming up against the last place LA Galaxy. So they're in pretty good position, even if it doesn't look like it on their Colorado. Picks up some points tonight. San Jose picks up points. Salt Lake picks up points. So didn't get a lot of help, but Dallas picked up a point too. And as I said, they've got the game in hand on 2 of the teams that are ahead of them.
Yeah, that San Jose-San Diego result, really frustrating. I mean, that is...
that's one you didn't see coming.
Didn't see coming at all. San Jose really let it slip with a loss against St. Louis last week, and I felt like that probably took them out of contention, and now they're right back in it, so credit to them for getting a big result. It's going to be interesting down the stretch. Really 4 teams still in those final contentions for 8 and 9, and it's 6 points against the Galaxy, and Dallas could go into decision day with a chance at 7 as well, depending on Portland's results. So still, a home play-in game or a 3-game series and a bye past that first round, everything is still on the table and possible because they kept the undefeated streak going tonight. I think if they lost tonight, you'd really think, okay, we just got to get into that 8-9 game. But even 7th is still on the table if they take care of business in that game in hand and they take care of business against the Galaxy.
I'm curious as we look at some of the, look at the storyline coming into tonight, what everyone thought, and Steve, I'll bring it to you first, what we thought of Jacob Jackson, because I know one of our big storylines right now is Collodi or Jacob Jackson, and when Martin Potts comes back, he'll be in the mix too, but we know Eric Quill has agonized over it. It's been one of his toughest decisions, but he kept the hot hand going. And I don't think Jackson played badly at all tonight in any way. It was probably I think maybe you could argue his worst performance since he got the start. But even so, you get a draw. He has a good amount of saves. I'm curious what you thought overall, if he did enough to maybe hold off a really good Collodi who's been solid this season.
Yeah, I'm curious why you say it's his worst performance because, look, there's nothing he can do in either goal. I mean, it's the first one is an own goal coming off of Ramiro's head. It's a flash header at the near post, and that ball is by Jacob Jackson before he ever saw it. or he couldn't get his hands up on it. And then the second one, they're not tracking. It's one of the midfielders that doesn't track the run of Paredes, so he's just got an easy tap in at a little bit more than a tap in, but not much more than one at the back post. And there's nothing Jackson can do on that one. Otherwise, he does what he needs to do. Didn't have to make any big saves. One on Mascara in the first half, probably.
Yeah, I had a couple that were. I mean, they were close to him and saves you expect him to make, but I think he did well. And I don't see any reason to make the change. If the logic has been to ride, this good form, then I think it continued tonight. And obviously he has a good familiarity and understanding with the back line. And, long may it continue. They continue to be really solid against a really attack-minded lineup in the first half from Portland. And then, even as they tired and they had Anthony and they had Velda running right at them in the second half, they did just enough to stay in the game. And 7 saves for Jake Jackson. I think it's another good night for him. His saves per game rate obviously skewed by the St. Louis, but it's really, really high, and credit to him. He came into tonight on 90% with his save percentage. I think that'll go down a little bit tonight.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, still high 80s, which is incredible. If you could continue that over an entire season, you're in all-star conversation. So his ability to also just to launch it long gave Dallas an outlet tonight. I think he did a much better job than last week in terms of his long distribution and giving Musa and giving Ferington a chance to fight for it. I think Musa doesn't go 5 for 7 on aerial duels if he's having to kind of chase a ball that's out of his reach. I think it was accurate distribution from Jackson tonight. And man, this three-headed Dallas goalkeeping situation, and Eric Quill said, I've got 3 number ones, and he's right. I think all 3 are really capable number ones in MLS, and right now it's Jake Jackson, and I think it'll continue that way.
It's just such a bizarre moment. Maybe I'm just putting a lot of stock into how good he was in the previous games. Maybe a rewatch will put some religion into me. Another player that I'm curious, and Ryan, I'll throw it to you. This kind of felt like the game where we saw the potential limitations of Ramiro at wingback. Obviously, the own goal is its own situation. I'm not even really considering that. But it seemed like he has been in a really good run of form, but this was maybe not his best experience out wide. It looked a little bit better when he came inside and they made the switch to bring Julio in at that right wingback spot. But this kind of felt like if you were going to attack him in that place, Portland kind of figured out the way to do it.
Yeah, I think Portland has the profiles to really go at him. Obviously the speed and then also the craft of Anthony and Velda. So I wouldn't be too worried about it going forward. I don't think a lot of teams have the level of directness and speed that Portland has. The one team that does is LA Galaxy. They've got Joseph Paintsel, who scored a hat trick tonight. So over the next 2 games, that'll be one to watch. But actually, I think the opposite of what you said. I think he looked worse in the middle when he went in there, and the game was really stretched. And we know those are the times when he, struggles to get back in position, get up and down the field. And I think when he plays wingback, he just plays it, in a largely disciplined way. He did tire towards the end of the first half, which I think leads to having to concede the corner, and then maybe he doesn't get enough behind it and gets the own goal. So, yeah, he had a couple minutes stretch in the first half, but I wouldn't really be too concerned. I was concerned coming into it, and I think he largely stood up pretty well in the matchup, even as stacked against it as it felt like it was, stacked against him as it felt like it was.
Yeah, I would agree because the other day in Vancouver for Portland, Anthony played on the right side. He's got some wheels, right? He's fast. So tonight, what they do is they stack that left side. They move Anthony over there. They sort of concede the middle to Kaike and Kappas and just said, we're just going to attack that side. And they gave Ramiro, a lot to deal with over there. And he didn't do well on that last sequence, the first half that led to the corner kick. Then, of course, the own goal, as you said, that's his own thing. But I feel like he did okay against Velda and Anthony over there. I don't think it's not like he was just getting roasted. It was a tough assignment. He was, he had his share of wins over there. And then on the other side, they sort of made, after a while, Dallas sort of figured it out. They made Portland pay for sort of stacking.
And he got that same matchup that Ramiro got in the first half. And obviously, Kamungo blessed with a little more speed than Ramiro. But those are not easy matchups in the wide areas. And we've seen Kamungo up against, David Martinez from LAFC. We've seen him up against Bukhari of Austin a couple different times. he can just flat out defend, which I don't think is something that we knew about him. Maybe it wasn't even something that he had in his game, 6 months ago. He's developed so well in this position. It's just a huge credit to both him, and we talked with him on the FC Dallas Agenda a couple of weeks ago about the transition and how he changed his mentality in approaching it. And instead, last year when he was working with Nico Estevez and they asked him to play there, he thought of it as being demoted from playing on the wing. This season, he told me that he felt like it was his opportunity to seize, and that is absolutely what he's done. I mean, just another stand-up performance from him, both ways, creating a lot of danger, getting in behind, but also being there when they needed him to defend up against Fernandez and Antony in the second half. Tireless. I mean, I think the most up and down game that he's played all season long, and he goes 90 minutes, no problem. So huge credit to Bernard Kamungo. I don't think the turnaround happens in the same way if they don't find just an absolutely outstanding left wing back out of somewhere in the roster, and he was the guy.
Yeah, I think I don't think he will get this shout nationally just because he maybe MLS down the stretch. It's truly a wild development that I don't think anyone saw coming. If you did, give me the lotto numbers in the next Super Bowl winner, please and thank you. I will definitely take it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be about sustaining it, right? But so far he's shown us at every test, like I said, up against really dynamic wide players, that he's up for the task, and he's added goals and assists recently as well. So he's just been the complete package. And I want to go to the YouTube chat as well, and shout out to everyone that listened tonight and watched along on the Burncast. It was a lively chat for sure. Shout out to Darlin, Ernesto, Luke, who were in the chat throughout the match, Marcus as well. One comment and one question that we can get to, and that's talking about the red card penalty incident. It comes from Blues. He said, do you feel like it was a hometown call not to send off Finn Sermon in that? And they sent the referee to the monitor, and Steve, 90% of the time when you send him to the monitor, that's to overturn the decision. Now, we thought that they were going to look and see that it was offside. I don't think they even looked at the offside, and I still haven't seen a definitive angle to say that Ferington was onside, but you would assume that the VAR had already checked that part. And they show Pinso the incident, Ferington getting the shove in the back. Do you think it was enough for a red card? Because like I explained on the broadcast, the rule is basically you can't be sent off if you make a play for the ball inside the box. You're going to get a yellow card, and it's going to be a penalty. But did he really make a play for the ball? I mean, I think the argument is there that is just a shove from behind, and that could have been a denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, it's a little subjective. And by the way, I assume, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, they check for the offside. So it becomes subjective on that thing, and it is a pretty high bar. What usually happens there is if you reach out and grab, twist a shoulder, something like that, and deny the goal scoring situation, grab a jersey, something like that. That's where you say, look, there's absolutely no play on the ball there. In this case, when I did see it at first, I thought, okay, there might have been a little bit of a leg tangle there, getting tangled up, and so you could at least make the case he was trying to find the ball in there somewhere. But then when we saw it on the replay, I think you're right. It was just a barge into the back, and so I think looking at the replay, it probably should have been a red card. And just looking at Ryan's screen there, I think there's a defender on the backside that kept Logan Ferington onside. So I don't think because he's behind the center back, but on the backside back there, I can't tell who that is. But so I
would have
think,
been Antony.
Yeah. So that was so that checks out. Yeah. Again, I just see Sermon barging into his back, and maybe it should have been a red card. It is a pretty high bar, though, to do that, to create that double jeopardy, as Ryan was talking about.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Steve. The one caveat I would say is I have seen red cards be given for less in that situation. I'm not saying that's correct in any way, but I am saying there have been times in the league where referees, and I think Chris Pinso did a pretty good job tonight overall. If they had given a red card, I don't think Portland would have had too much to complain about. I think that they didn't. I don't think Dallas can be too much of a caterwaul in that case. It's just, it's a bang-bang play. I think if they had given the red, it would have been fine. I have seen fouls in that similar situation. They're much softer that do generate red cards. It's just one of those weird kind of Twilight Zone moments of just where the referee makes a call. I will say it is strange that they send him to the monitor and he's like, nah, I'm going to stick with what I got here, because that's such a rare occurrence in MLS in specific, and global soccer in general.
Yeah, and I think Steve is bang on. They finally show the reverse angle like 20 seconds later, and Ferington is behind Sermon, but he's not behind Anthony, who kept him on side. And Anthony, not really a natural defender, also trying to learn wing back on the fly, and he cost his team there with his positioning. Obviously, for somebody who's so fast, he doesn't need to be behind the line like that, but gave Ferington the chance to get him behind on the great through ball from Musa. And those two connecting in a different way this week, but connecting again for a goal. That streak continues.
Sam, let's don't let this thing get away without talking about this as well.
Go for it.
17th goal tonight for Petar Musa. He's got 3 games left, unless he has to sit out one for a yellow card. I mean, who's going to bet against him at this point to at least tie, but probably set the new FC Dallas single-season goals record?
He's got 3 games to do it, and he's got 2 games against the Galaxy to do it as well. You would hate to see it come down to almost like when Jesus Ferreira was on 18 when he got to decision day a couple years ago. It was where it was just kind of a brutal moment, but I just don't think it's going to be an issue. Like I would really love it if he was able to do it here at home next week when they play the Galaxy in front of the home fans who have been behind him, just as a really cool send-off for the last guaranteed game here at Toyota Stadium. Also a cool moment, we've mentioned it briefly. Big congrats to Diego Garcia, who makes his MLS debut tonight. Welcome to the jungle, as he got to come in a tie game in a playoff race in one of the toughest parks to play in. Didn't look outmatched. Unfortunate that Sebastian Leget's injury forced that situation, because I'm sure he probably would have been the guy that comes in that scenario. But hey, congrats to Diego. That's another homegrown that's debuted. I don't know what Dallas is up to on debuts this year.
17, yeah.
17. So it's a huge number, but congrats to number 17 himself, Diego Garcia, who I think, is he 17 or is he 18 now?
He is 18 now, yeah. But
number
50 on his back, I mean, still pretty scrawny kid. It was a huge moment for him to come into. And immediately, I think he showed his quality and his personality. I mean, there was a moment where he made a dart out of midfield, and I sort of was like, oh, what are we doing? This isn't the moment to make the press. But he still, forces an opportunity, almost gets a chance at the winning goal. So he's going to be himself, and his talents is really using his ability, his capacity to get up and down the field. He's a box-to-box type of guy, and he's going to be a fixture for this team for a long time. So huge congratulations to him making his MLS debut tonight.
Yeah, I've been holding on to this anecdote for his debut. He coached in the media game. We talked about that in the pregame show, and I was able to stand next to him for a decent amount because, well, look at me. And
just taking a breather.
Taking some substitution, but like being able to listen to him, like he has got an incredible soccer brain. Like the dude, we talk about his endurance and his ability, but like his brain works in a very unique way for this game. He sees it really well. I'm really interested to see his long-term development, but he'll always remember a very late night in Portland in late September for his MLS debut. Congrats again to Diego. Well, it's 12:09 here in God's time, in the Central Time. Before we turn off the open light for a very late MLS After Dark, do we have any final thoughts on Dallas 2, Portland 2? Chair recognizes Mr. Steve Davis.
Just to update a couple of numbers here. We talked about this one a little bit. Unbeaten now in 7. Just 1 loss in the last 10 games. This is all FC Dallas, of course. They are now 4 wins, 2 losses, and 5 draws since Lucho Acosta's last start. Musa, 23 goal contributions. That's something to note. And Musa and or Ferington have scored now 15 of FC Dallas's last 25 goals. Not exactly Son and Bouanga, but pretty darn good as a combo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those two are on a different level, but Dallas have their own combination. The perfect Parrington up top. I think.
Did you say Parrington?
Parrington, the perfect.
Yeah, this
Parrington.
is his new thing he's trying to force.
Sure that was great.
Yeah. The last thing I want to point out is just Dallas's ability to get up for the fight tonight. 74% tackles won, season high. 20 total tackles won to Portland's 10. I mean, that is obviously tackling has a skill, but it's also about being willing to go in, put in those hard challenges. Kappa's had a few good ones. Kaique, Ramiro, the back line, everybody just putting their body on the line tonight. Huge blocks from Aragide, Shakmore, and Ibiaga. Jackson throwing his body in there where the boots are as well at times. I mean, these guys were willing to put everything on the line tonight, and they could have come away with 3 points. There's definitely a timeline where they're walking away with their first win in Portland since 2016, but the point keeps them right in the fight, and they're going to fight till the end. We know that about this team now. It's a lot of fun to watch week in, week out. For me, not getting, results aside, this was the most fun game of the season, and I think they continue to peak in that direction. And if I was, looking ahead to the next week, I'd be really excited to see some more goals and some more fight from this team.
A crazy tempo for the game tonight, all the way through.
Yep.
Yeah, get those guys some IVs and some Gatorade or what have you, because it was or Powerade, maybe I should say specifically.
Correct.
Because it was a
ice baths. Yeah.
Yeah, ice baths for everybody. Maybe a day off tomorrow as well. Well, as Ryan mentioned, next week it is Fan Appreciation Afternoon at Toyota Stadium because it's a 3:30 kickoff, and it's the first of a back-to-back against the LA Galaxy, who, as I look at the table today, I find them last in the Western Conference at just 24 points through 31 games, a minus 21 goal differential. That has to be one of the worst MLS Cup repeats I've ever seen. Historically might be the worst. And Dallas gets them first next week before they go out to Dignity Health Sports Park on October 11th. But next week it's a 3:30 kickoff. A reminder, it's an afternoon game on October 4th. So pregame on the FC Dallas Radio Network will start at 6. Will start at 3 o'clock. Definitely will not start at 6. And if you want to be here for it, FCDallasTickets.com. Although to my understanding, tickets are limited. So if you're thinking about doing it, get those tickets quickly because this will almost assuredly be a sellout. And hey, you're going to want to be in the house because more than likely Petter Moose is going to tie the record, if not break it, the way things have been going. So get here, FCDallasTickets.com. But if not, 3 o'clock on the FC Dallas Radio Network for pregame 3:30 kick with Ryan and Steve. But that's going to do it for tonight's postgame show. FC Dallas and Portland honors even at 2-2 up in Providence Park. For engineer Barry Walters, for Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old.